The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
Oh, hello. Welcome to ForceCenter Live. Clink, clink on a Saturday.
Clink. Hello there. Hello there. I am happy to be here on a Saturday. I was too busy, Ken, trying to get my Jedi symbol to face the camera to see what you were actually drinking.
Oh, so I have a choice. I have a lot of leftover things. You were at that fire pit party I had, Joseph, a month ago, and I'm still drinking what was left. Should I first have a fizzy hard seltzer strawberry kiwi or a grapefruit radler?
I'm trying to remember the old rhyme that helps with that, like in liquor before beer in the clear. I'm sure grapefruit radler in the back. You're all right, Jack. I think that's what it is. So I think you should start with the first one.
You know, cheers indeed. It's brewed in Germany. So to all of our friends, great country of Germany. Cheers to you. We're here live on a Saturday, which was my fault because of some other stuff I'm doing. But this also, Joseph, might work out because I think a lot more people are like, oh, great. I don't work. I can come hang out with you here.
Yeah, no, the response, at least just in the tweets about this, has been really great. So, hey, maybe it'll be a fun weekend tradition to have Saturday afternoon ForceCenter. This tastes like Saturday afternoon, so that's great.
I love that tumbler you got there. That's a beautiful thing. Also on the show today, coming up here, we'll have a couple segments with a guest or two here. Lauren Romo from the Galactic Podcast will be here. Also the Geek Broadcast in the past as well. And then Brian Ward will be on the show. That's right. You actually be able to see and hear Brian Ward, the man who's imaged our live stream here with his overlays and so many other channels and shows. He's actually going to make kind of one of his debuts here today. And we're proud about that at ForceCenter.
Yeah, very, very excited to share some screen time with Brian. We've had such a great time working with him over the years on all of the graphics. If people didn't get a chance to catch it, his YouTube show that he's working on with the photoshopping, I laughed and I learned some things. I've been using some different tools since I watched that great video.
PLD says Brian Ward is a huge get. He is. Orlando, gas. Brian Ward is a real person. Oh yeah, midnight.
Midnight Nass. Brian Ward. That's right. Interrobang. Yeah, Midnight Nass. So good. So good.
That's great.
Absolutely wonderful stuff. The other thing that we wanted to say is the past couple of Q&As we've been experimenting with doing an other center section where we talk about something different. For this episode, I think we're just going to invite Indiana Jones questions throughout our discussion. This will be obviously mainly Star Wars, hanging out, enjoying raspberry rattlers or whatever Ken's drinking.
I wish it was raspberry. I don't love grapefruit, but it tastes good. Grapefruit, yes.
Grapefruit, a grapefruit rattler. And we'll happily take some Indiana Jones questions. Ken and I are having so much fun recording the Perilous podcast, talking about Indiana Jones, up now on Patreon. It'll be available to the public after Dial of Destiny. But I think you and I, Ken, are just both enjoying the summer of Indiana Jones in our hearts.
Oh my gosh, it has been so much fun to go back in time to the summer of '89, but also 2008 and just my life. And I don't love to gamify things, but we might have to gamify. I'll open this live on air if we get like a certain amount of chats or a question. I don't know. I purchased this age 4 and up at our favorite store, Target, which I now stand by. More than ever this week. And I'm excited to open this. And I was going to do this maybe on like a reel or something, a short, which we're still going to do. Apologize, we been delayed on this, but I don't know. Maybe today's the day, Joseph.
That would be great. I have a couple action figures near me that I'm not going to open. So it seems awful to say, if we reach this super chat, I'll continue to not open them. And I'm not going to do that. But
I don't
you have something.
But yeah.
No, you have something active and fun. And I wish I liked those toys more because you can actually find them unlike many other Indiana Jones toys on shelves.
This is a great statement. And not quite getting into the questions here yet, but Rhoda, who we did meet in person in London, Harrison Ford for me was Indiana. It was weird to see him without a hat in Star Wars. That is a take I love. That's a great, like, whoa, like Indiana Jones is in Star Wars. That's amazing.
I wish to hear even more of those takes where people knew Harrison Ford for something else. I'm reminded of that famous story of, I believe it's Mama Cass,
Mm.
sitting at Grauman's Chinese Theater during one of the early screenings of Star Wars, and Harrison Ford comes on screen and she screams out, "That's my pot dealer." I love anybody who knows Harrison Ford for something else before Star Wars.
And people are upset that Jenna Ortega had a cigarette this week. Imagine, well, if they really knew about all that stuff there in the back. Well,
That's Mike Carpenter. Yeah.
that guy did my shelves. Natalie says unbox, unbox, unbox.
There's a chant going. And strong opinions flowing in. Brent Bum standing by. Indy has a better haircut than Han.
Look,
Is that controversial? I don't know.
It might be a hot take, but I got to tell you something. I actually kind of agree. Both and look, you and I are children of the '80s, Joseph. Even Luke Skywalker's hair, particularly in Return of the Jedi, very of its time, more than even sideburns on Imperial officers in A New Hope. Mark Hamill's hair in Return of the Jedi is a cut I had at about that year.
Yeah, no, definitely verging on concerning at a couple spots. I think Harrison Ford's got, Han's got a little bit of a shaggy vibe. I don't know how much hair does or doesn't grow in Carbonite. It seems like it was pretty frozen. But yeah, I mean, I like that 30s clean cut look that Indy's sporting. Yep.
Look, man, he comes down those stairs in Club Obi-Wan. It raises some questions that maybe you want answers to. So I love it.
Yeah, there's a Target exclusive of the Indiana Jones Adventure series of the Club Obi-Wan scene where he's got the Connery Bond Goldfinger jacket, and it comes with almost everything that he uses in that scene: the diamond, the Nurchi's remains, flaming shish kebab. So that's on my radar. That's
still one of my favorite parts of Indiana Jones. Well, we also got a lot of Star Wars questions to get to today. Rumor, Alpha, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Laserbolt. By the way, I want to shout out Laserbolt videos. Laserbolt's a friend of the show. I've actually worked with him on a little short project I did for some parody traffic videos on my own channel. And he has a great YouTube channel, but he had this wonderful video he did 3 weeks ago showing how to 3D print a Mandalorian helmet for a Grogu life-size figure, right?
Ooh.
I was like, we're going to watch this. But he put so much work into it. He's in a full X-Wing pilot. He has his friend, Captain Skyhopper, who he brings in, and he has a sidekick, and there's green screens. They end up on a roller coaster in Naboo. It was wonderful, Laserbolts. I watch it this morning on my Saturday mornings. I put on YouTube videos while I have breakfast and play MLB The Show. It's my relaxing tradition. And that one featured video today, Laserbolts.
We have some great insight here from Vorlando. I knew Dooku is the mad scientist from Gremlins 2.
That's amazing. You could, wow. I mean, gosh, with your love of Doctor Who, you could really go wild with that. Like, who you know from Doctor Who, yeah.
Oh yeah, I knew a lot of people from Doctor Who. Yeah. Oh, and there's obviously tons of people who are like, did you know that the Joker from the Batman the Animated Series is in Star Wars? Apparently, he plays Anakin, Padme's kid.
That's a great way to look at it. All right. Should we get some questions? I see some great starred ones already. Jared is in watching us at work and said he has to go, so we can maybe start with a Jared Roulette question here. He's got a couple.
Do you want to start with a more personal one, Ken? Or there you go.
Question: Ken, which Star Wars character get the bachelor party invite? So, as a lot of people know, I am engaged, but I have a ring, which is not traditional. It's because we're not actually planning to get married. Not at this point in our lives. It's a Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell situation. So I don't know if I'll have a bachelor party. But that said, it begins and ends with Lando. You're absolutely going to want Lando. You're absolutely going to want Poe. I think, Finn, I think Zori Bliss, I think she'd be the muscle to keep us when we get out of line. She'll keep us in line. And then, I hate to say it, but Dryden Voss might get access to clubs we wouldn't have access to. Not saying he's my best friend, but I might include him.
That is a great answer. And I like that since you have an open-ended engagement, really every day is your bachelor party. We're at your bachelor party right now.
Yes, grapefruit rattlers for all.
I would invite to my bachelor party if I had a second bachelor party for fun. I'm not. I'm staying married to Sarah, But sometimes I talk about it would be fun to renew our vows. So we could have all the people in our life now there to celebrate with us. And if I did that, I would have a second bachelor party, and I would invite adult nubs. I don't want underage nubs, drinking or anything, but adult nubs.
Adult nub sounds like something else too. But yeah, that character is sweeping the hearts of the fandom. So I'd love to have him involved in a lot of things going forward, especially when he grows up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What else? Where do you want to go next? You want to take one of Jared's other questions here?
Yeah, I don't want Jared to miss it if he's at work. We want him to do the responsible thing and enjoy work. But
yeah, let's go for the nice broad question here. How do you organize your Star Wars books? By timeline, release date, author? I'm a timeline guy personally. Ken, where do you go with this? And are your Star Wars books organized right now?
They are. I think I'm running out a little bit of space, but thanks to the High Republic. But yeah, I'm a timeline guy as well, and it sometimes creates weird crossover, like where do you put last shot, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I keep it with timeline, and that God bless it, the High Republic has been the issue on my bookshelf because you and I haven't even the books that we haven't read from Phase 2 are on a coffee table. So when I have to put those on the shelf, a lot of things are going to have to move, and I don't know what to do with that yet.
Yeah, that's really, really difficult. My books have fallen out of order entirely. But to answer Jared's question, well, actually, you can see some of them behind me. Those are organized by. Those are the books that were on my floor when I got a new shelf. But I do have the High Republic on the top there. People can probably see the gold and white. I have the High Republic in chronological order of the release. And I like gathering them by the type of book because I think I like the kind of the height thing. So if I was able to have a big shelf and start from the beginning, I would have like all of the young adult together in size order. And I would probably put them in chronological order because it would just be fun to scan the timeline, like from Padme to Poe.
That's a great title. That's like a documentary title, From Padme to Poe. What do you have an issue? Like, does it kind of stick in your craw when you have, like, for whatever reason, you have a paperback amongst a bunch of hardcovers? I have that issue with New Dawn. I have the paperback of New Dawn, and it's just this wee little tiny thing amongst these giants.
Yeah, if it's within a series, like Aftermath, I have a tall paperback and then the two hardcovers, and that just annoys the bleep out of me. But for like the High Republic, that's like it's 3 book sizes, and it would annoy me more to move them out of order chronologically. Right. So basically, several different pedantic issues affect me.
Yeah, it's with Star Wars, storage is a big thing in all of our lives. Where do you display it? What do you do when you run out of room? If you're like Ken Plume, you start a show just so you can open up your figures because you've run out of room. Like, there's a lot of things out there to consider with storage in Star Wars.
Yeah, and then you always have to build with room, or you have to have additional room somewhere else so you can cycle. So you can put these in the faraway place, and then they come out to the shiny place. When guests come over, I put out these 300 Star Wars books.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And look, a little behind the scenes magic, you and I, one of these days, if things go even better for ForceCenter than they already have, we might want to get a production office, maybe do some live shooting. I think largely so I can have a place to store my Star Wars Legos. Might be the real reason I want that.
There is a desire to have a studio and a storage place / museum.
Because I got that Death Star Lego set. It was gifted to me by the wonderful friend of the show, First Rate Nate, a while ago, and I can't even touch it. It sits up here in this closet. I can't even touch it because I don't have room to build it, let alone display it.
I still have an Obi-Wan that was a kind contribution from Gentle Giant that I haven't had the heart to put together. And so I just look at the box.
See, there you go.
All right. Some great questions there. Where do you want to go next, Ken?
Let's go to, this was the first one we saw on the show today. This is hearing rumors of Teak, a Star Wars story being developed. Any truth to it? He goes to Tatooine and meets up with Tika, the Jawa, and they fall in love. Teak and Tika I'd be excited about this. For those, I realize that maybe some people don't know who Teak is. I think a lot of Force Center listeners do, but I was out in the wild and made a Teak reference on another script I was writing for this job I have, and it was dust bunnies flying by an empty plane when I made the reference. So Teak is from the Indiana Jones. Well, the Ewok adventure movie, or the second one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I believe so. I shouldn't say that so affirmatively on the internet and everything, but
yeah. But yes, I'm excited for this. I did. Do you have any Teak stories? I know we know Nathan Hamill has Teak stories. That's literally his favorite Star Wars character. But
yeah, well, if you just put in Teak, it brings up very disturbing pictures of insects. So it is tied to Indiana Jones. Sometimes I do that because my all of my devices are so used to understanding. I mean, to search for Star Wars things.
Yeah.
I forget to put in Teak Star Wars. Anyway, I just answered PLD's question. In an infinite multiverse, all things are possible. So I think this rumor's true. In some multiverse, this is being developed. No, I love Teak largely for the fun Star Wars game where you kind of got a joke. Probably what you were writing in the script, Ken, where you want to like throw in, here's a wild, obscure Star Wars character.
Right.
And after a while, they start to get not obscure at all. So you have to dig deeper and deeper. Yeah. And Teak is one of those that's like, that's still like, you got to be in the bubble. You got to be in the bubble,
That's a great point, breaking it down too. Like maybe 5 years ago, you might have referenced Willow Hood, and it'd be like, oh, what's that? 10 to 15 years ago, it might be Lobot even, right? Like, and now, yeah, you're right. You have to go really look under the carpet and see what's buried there.
Yeah. And I can't wait to look under the carpet and see Teak, not the bugs that came up when I Googled Teak, but the actual Teak. I got we'll see. Maybe Disney Plus will remove the Ewok movies because I'm sure they're paying huge amounts of royalties for those. That is a hashtag sarcasm. But we also bought the DVDs in the hopes that you and I and Jennifer could find time to watch the Ewok movies and talk about them. So I'm still waiting for that special night, the Magic Ewok night, where I break down and just like, I'm doing it. I'm watching the Ewok movies.
That's a great point too. You made the decision that ForceCenter should, as a company, buy these DVDs, which you did, and then they went to Disney Plus. And I remember off air, you were kind of like, "Damn it, maybe we didn't need to buy those." But as the world is turning, I think you made a nice investment.
I think I'm just scrolling through Teak's Wikipedia page, and I scrolled past Teak's theme. Yes, Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. Nice. Is indeed Teak's moment to shine.
Nice. Love that. I love those characters. And I love imagining a world where Andor is on Narkina 5 and all that's going on. And then somewhere at the same time in the galaxy is Teak running around Andor fast.
Hopefully he will join the revolution.
Great.
All right. It is my turn to grab a question here, right? Well, this one came in early on. Well, I'll grab this from Gary. It is not a question. It is a self-imposed fine. Gary, 24 fan. Hello, gentlemen. I can't believe this is my first time ever catching you live, so please forgive me and accept my self-imposed fine. No fine necessary, but it is very, very appreciated. Gary, 24 fan. There's so many different ways for me to analyze what that might mean. I'm assuming Gary is Gary's name. I could be wrong. A fan of the television show 24, or is there some television show I don't know called Gary 24?
Or that he's a fan of the 24-hour day.
The 24-hour Gary
loves it. Loves that kind of fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you want to illuminate the truth of your handle, I'm always really interested in understanding where they come from.
Love that. Well, Gary does have a question here. We can follow it up here. Indy question. It says, this weekend is the annual Brickyard Classic for you race fans out there. Would Indy have won the Indy 500? How had he gone down that career path? So if he'd been a race car driver, which seems like would have been what George Lucas would have probably rather been doing until that accident that changed the world. I will say this, Joseph. He'd be in it. Indy would. He'd be a racer to watch, but I don't think he'd ever finish a race. I think he'd take unnecessary risks. He'd figure it out as he go along. He would maybe occasionally crash. Whereas like Han Solo's a racer. Han Solo might actually figure that out. I think Indy would be in, but would never win the Indy 500.
I think this all hinges to me on a racing technicality. Can you be the winner if you are the first to cross the finish line, but you do it in a car that you didn't start out in? Because Indy has a long history of being very good with vehicles, but also extremely destructive and very good at transitioning between vehicles during a chase. So I think there's no way he doesn't crash the car he starts in, but he absolutely ends up whipping himself onto another car, pulling that driver out, beating him or her or them, and throwing them off the track and winning in a car he did not start in. Does that count?
That's the answer. That is the answer. And Rick Villanueva, who's a beacon of light in the Star Wars fandom here, says Adam Driver driving Indy at the Indy 500. Dangerously close to wordplay, Rick, but I love it, and it's perfect. Yeah,
it's the puns that get me. I like that kind of wordplay. That's great.
Yes.
And Gary 24, thank you for answering about the handle. I used to watch NASCAR, and my favorite driver was Jeff Gordon, number 24. That's
beautiful.
Awesome.
That's a great answer. That's lovely. Thank you, Gary, for your super chat and your questions and comments.
And Laserbolt Videos adds, Indy can drive the heck out of a rubber dinghy. Yes, he can.
Love that.
That was, I think, one of the working titles, right? Indiana Jones and the driving of the dinghy.
The driving of the dinghy, indeed. All right, I think Joseph, you might be up. And while Joseph's looking for a question, hey, if you're watching, you want to do us a favor, like the video. Maybe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. Help the YouTube channel grow. More things coming here in June. And now Joseph's got a question. Look at that.
Yeah, this comes to us from Natalie with a great profile pic. Which Star Wars character would you most like to sit down with for a drink and chat at your local cantina? And what are you drinking? Ooh, these are always really challenging because are we drinking Earth drinks, space drinks, a combination of Earth and space drinks? Where do you go with this, Ken?
So on this YouTube channel, one of the very first videos posted is what was maybe going to be the original concept of Star Wars Ranked, a 5-minute video. And I just wrote like the top 5 Star Wars characters you'd like to have a drink with, right? And Leia ends up coming in at number 1, I believe. And so that's still kind of the answer, right? And then it's just a matter of what era. And I still go to like, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, General Leia era with a lot of history, a lot of pain, a lot of stories to tell. And that has a lot to do, obviously, with Carrie herself. So with all due respect to her real life situation, she might not have wanted to have a drink with us there. But that's still kind of the answer. But over the years, so many other characters have popped up, right? And Brasso's the kind of guy I want to go to like a dingy bar, just sit in the corner, not talk much, but just kind of have friend time. That's kind of an answer for me. And then even like I'd love to have a drink with Mon Mothma, not with a worm in or anything, and just have her let her hair down, so to speak. I know she's got short hair most of the time. And I love friends and things like that, where you know them in a certain light, and then you get around them in another light, the not even the drunk light, but just the social light, and they turn into a warmer version, and you get to know them a little bit more. That'd be Mon Mothma for me.
Yeah, Mon Mothma was definitely going to be one of my answers because I love that what we're seeing in Andor. Obviously, a lot of pressure she's under, but also a lot of wit. And a lot of personality, and it seems like I think it's watching her have lots of nice sort of space version of champagne drinks and being like, I would really like this poor woman to be able to just have a whiskey alone in the corner of a dark bar.
Yeah. Yes.
And well, I guess not alone, but without social pressure to actually enjoy herself. So there's a nice little very intimate little hotel bar by my place that I would like to meet Mon Mothma in the corner of with a space whiskey. But my number one answer is sorry to be so basic, but it is going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's the character who likes a drink, and I think just likes to chat at bars. I mean, there's some characters like, oh yeah, sure, I'd like to rope you in. I'd love to have a drink with C-3PO at a bar, but I don't think he would. But Obi-Wan would loves to sit and chat. I mean, I hope he enjoys my company. But you know, in definitely some sort of experimental martini. Like, it's a martini, but there's something weird about it that the bartender is trying, because I think Obi-Wan is open to weird experiments.
In any era, because I'm thinking of like the Indy, Indy's on my mind today. You and Obi-Wan lost in the desert type of barfly. But do you have a specific era that you go to?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, in the prequel era, you know, pre-Attack the Clones is great, but actually a little bit older would be great, because I think he is still a little bit, he's still got a little bit of rigidity going on there. Post the television show where he's turning things around. Yeah, I would really like that. And there's a French sort of bistro-y place on my block as well that plays on silent old movies in the background as you eat and drink. So there can never be an awkward pause, because you can both just stare at the television.
I love that spot. That's where I accidentally shoulder checked Justin Long one time and had to apologize because it looked like I was in a fight, but it was just crowded. There's this weird stuff. I don't want to go too long, but Obi-Wan, I love your answer, Obi-Wan. Wonderfully not surprised. That should be your answer. There was a time years ago in an Irish bar at Toluca Lake. My roommate and I at the time used to always go. And he had this weird condition. If he had like a weird fruit juice, like an unnatural kind of fruit juice in a drink, his throat would close up, right? And all it took was water to clear it out, but it looked dramatic. And there'd be several occasions where some people who didn't know would call 911, and he'd be trying to communicate, no, it's fine, water. And this happened one night at this bar, and everyone's freaking out. But I was kind of like trying to communicate, no, he just needs water. Just give us water. And in the corner, there was this guy with like a gray beard, mid-50s, and he just yells out, give the man water. And we calm down, the bar calms down. And this guy is like, he was from like South Africa. He had traveled the world. He knew exactly what was going on. He offered some clues to how to fix it. And then he was like, you ever tried Lafroig? Let's try Lafroig whiskey. And that's Obi-Wan in Tatooine. Just like, he knows, he's calm. Let's have a drink.
Yep. Exactly. And you know, if your drink starts to spill, you can catch it with the Force. There's so many things that he could do. I'm lucky to have multiple restaurants on this block, but like 3 main ones, and they're strangely, it's just a vibe that they're divided by who hangs out there. There's one where like a lot of improv and sketch comedy people hang out at, and then some actors hang out at the one in the middle. Christopher Nolan likes that one a lot for some reason, because I've seen him there a couple times. And then the one at the end is where like famous people party. Like I saw the entire cast of Riverdale there. So the reason that I bring that up is it's in Justin Long. It's really fun to think of, like, if you had like 3 bars in a row where like, okay, at the end that's a dive. That's for Han Solo and Dash Rendar to get in a fight at. Yeah. And then in the middle is maybe for like Mon Mothma and Leia to have a discussion. And then the last one is like for Lando to see and be seen.
I also love that we're really setting up that Joseph lives like what a lot of people far away might think is Beverly Hills, but it's just this little stretch.
It's so funny because it's just a perfectly normal little neighborhood, but it is at the base of the Hollywood Hills. So that's why there are people there.
Yeah, there's a deli on the corner that my friend used to see Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston have breakfast at almost every day while they're married. It's so weird. It's just this weird, crazy stretch. And Joseph, and then you can see Joseph Scrimshaw having a sandwich.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, great answers in this one here in chat. Rick saying Meeber Gascon. Jaylee wants everyone but Turgle from Survivor. A great character, but I agree I wouldn't have drinks with Turgle. Space Appletinis with Wrecker, says her pal Maddie.
Ooh, yeah.
Lauren Romo, who's going to be on the show here in about a half hour, says drinks with Ventress would be fascinating. Well, love that there. So great answers for all of you there.
Yes,
thanks.
and
yeah.
Rednax 42 here says, imagines my conversation with Obi-Wan. You haven't heard of ForceCenter? Should I have? Oh man, I would let Obi-Wan lead the conversation. Don't want to walk into that.
Yeah. There we go. Will Culbertson says, so we know that Star Wars and ET are loosely connected in canon. Do you think Indiana Jones take place in the same world and timeline as ET, which would connect all three together? Ooh, that's a great angle on it. It's a great angle on it.
Yeah.
Because essentially it would be the same world, which, it'd be weird to have, ET shows up and trying to get home. And the people are like, oh, I heard there was like some interdimensional beings that took off out of Peru, the Lucky of El Dorado, Akatar. Isn't this the same thing? So it'd be all weirdly connected. It would make some sense. I'd like to think that in a Spielbergian Lucas way, they're all connected.
Oh yeah, I very much like this idea. I really wish that Indy could live until the 80s.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a deleted scene in E.T. where Indy's son Mutt meets E.T. and they accidentally fall through a portal and go backwards in time to the era of Star Wars.
You know what I love? Because in Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, of course, we have the older 92, 93-year-old Indy that is living in like 1992 with his daughter. There's room to suggest that that version of the character doesn't exist right now because it's not in a Lucas recut versions from 96, which might be the only versions out there. And Indy canon is not as stringent as we've talked about before. But I'd like to think that old Indy played by George Hall also had an adventure with E.T. and his kind in the early 80s. And that's a story he's going to tell.
Oh, yeah. No, and he finds some, ancient hieroglyphics. Rednax 42 is pointing out the R2 and C-3PO hieroglyphics in Indy. So maybe Indy, George Hall Indy, has found evidence of the E.T. people. Ken, here's an E.T. Star Wars question for you.
Okay.
Do you, now, I think the film of E.T., I haven't seen in a while, so feel free to correct me, but I think we're left to imagine that all of E.T.'s species have these abilities.
Right.
But is it possible that they don't in E.T. is our E.T., the one we know is Force sensitive?
I'm all in on that theory. That was the magic. That was the alien magic, as Smoking Man would say there, the government agents. I think he was a lost Padawan lost.
Padawan lost. The new subtitle for E.T. Nice, good stuff. Looking here for our next question. Oh, this is a kind super chat from our pal Ken Plume. And Ken says, so what figure would Joseph have opened if he'd actually opened a figure during our open chat? I had them ready. I will.
You didn't let him, Plume. You didn't let him.
Yeah. All right, Ken. What's your Ken Napzok? What is your threshold for opening a figure? What do you need to have happen to open that figure? Because I'll open a figure here today. I got a couple ready to go.
I'll tell you what, if we can get 100 people watching the stream and 50% likes, so we're 11 likes away and 18 viewers away. If you can go out and retweet the stream link, we hit 100 views, 50 likes, I'll open this.
Okay. Should we both open something at that threshold?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you got something, that's great. I'd love to. I've never really seen you open a figure. Plume's got some of the best style at opening figures.
Oh, he's a master.
I'd love to see you open that.
Yeah, everybody should check out Open Chat. It was a ton of fun. It is always great discussions, but also just watching a man in a mirror just work a knife is
looking at the man in the mirror.
It's so much fun and such a revelation. Thank you for the great question and the kindness, Ken Plume.
Plume indeed. All right. The likes have hit. We've got the likes.
Ooh.
Once we hit over 100 concurrent viewers, we're now at 79. If you if you got things to do, you're at work, you're making lunch, making dinner, don't worry. But tell people to come on in here and watch, and then we'll open up those figures. and live on air. That's what I'm saying.
Alan Smithy says E.T. used to have long legs until an incident with his lightsaber.
That's brutal. That's brutal, but I like it. That's brutal. All right. Let's see. Why am I having trouble? I got to move my StreamYard link. Hold on. Sorry. I keep going back. I check on the YouTube channel and then I go to my Gmail and not StreamYard. So let me get back up there. All
okay.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. We have got, let's go to Rona again, who was so nice to us at Star Wars Celebration London. She was doing some volunteer work at the venue there, making sure people got to enjoy the experience. It was a pleasure to meet you. Listened to your Visions discussions. What are your overall thoughts on Visions Volume 2 as a series? Great question there. I think you and I both really enjoyed. We enjoyed Visions Volume 1, to be clear. I don't know. There was definitely not speaking for you, but there's something a little bit more about this one that pulled me in, especially some of the specific chapters and episodes. So yeah, your overall thoughts, though?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Visions Volume 1, and I'm happy that this experiment, this project started that way. I think that's great. But I really enjoyed the variety in Visions Volume 2 of the variety in tone, which was there in the first one, but the variety of perspectives and literally aesthetics that came with all of the different cultures. I really liked that there was so much variety in tone, aesthetic, cultural input, but then it was fascinating to see so many themes come up. There were so many great Star Wars mothers. There was so much just true, I think, anger and resilience toward oppression. And I don't know if that's just the world's having a hard time, and everybody is wanting to turn to Star Wars for the heart of that message, of finding strength in the good things, in community, connection, history, and using those things to soldier on and find hope in dark times. I found the whole thing really moving because that spirit was there throughout. Of yep, it's a dark time, but we are gonna find a way through.
Yeah, well said as always, and I want to choose my words carefully and be respectful of Volume 1, which was spectacular, and also because it came from Japanese studios. I think it really did what I wanted it to do, which was focus on one of the big core building blocks of Star Wars, the things that influenced Lucas, and that was well documented. I just think there was something about this batch because it was different perspectives, different cultures, different creators around the world. You felt it, and you felt it on a regional level. I think there's a reason you and I really gravitated. There's many reasons you and I gravitated towards Spy Dancer, and I said on the review, and I'll repeat it here. Like, I can't hide my recency bias of just having visited Paris, and when I go, it's one of my favorite places in the world. Blah blah blah. But like when I'm there, I am one of those history. I'll look up all the history. I'll look up Wikipedia. Like, oh, I walked down this street. What does that mean? What's on that street? And I just pulled myself deeper into the history of France and the French people, especially during World War II, because stunning photos of Nazis occupying that city, and to see that kind of and feel it in Spy Dancer, I can't lie. It was just like, I feel I just experienced this, and not experienced it, but like experienced this knowledge and experienced this history, and it just exploded on the screen in a way I hadn't seen in the other volumes, and I think that's what Volume 2 did. It pulled in from around the world, and everyone shared that experience as you felt it as what it meant for them. And I think that shone through.
Yeah, no, Spy Dancer was huge for me. With the performing background and my wife being a dancer, but like I really did enjoy all of the very first one. The Sith is just gorgeous. I love the ideas, but it's also just physically gorgeous. So I can't wait to rewatch them.
Yeah, indeed. All right.
Okay, Ken. So I just want to. We like to be honest here on ForceCenter. In sense, trying to get more viewers to open packages, we lost several viewers.
Yes, we've lost viewers.
So, which I think I take as a deep desire for people to have toys remain in the box. We lost another, as I said.
I love this. I love this idea that you like kind of someone's out there, right? Like PLD's out there, like, nope, I'm Xing out because I don't want to be here.
Keep Obi-Wan in a box. Bing.
Love that.
Keep
love
Indiana Jones in a box.
that. Yeah. Keep him locked away.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Was that? Yeah. No, that was. You're up here. You're up, Slugger. I think that's what's going on. See, Ryan. Oh, we have Ryan Johnson, but not that one in the chat too.
Well, you know what? Ryan Johnson's got a great question, so why not? Before most Star Wars projects, there is massive discussion and speculation. I feel like there isn't much of that for Ahsoka. Why do you think that is, and how does it make you feel personally? I'm glad. I also the Ryan's user pick there is great.
Love that.
Yeah. So I have some thoughts, but I want to hear yours first, Ken.
One of the things might just be that it's just the general assumption of what we're getting, right? That it's Rebels 2.0 or the continuation of that story, the search for Ezra, and while none of that's been super confirmed, it's definitely, to me, even for me, accepted, right? That's where we're going. Not that it is just simply Rebels 2.0. It's definitely Ahsoka's story and how it relates. And that's one of the things I loved about the trailer. The trailer opened up, and gosh, Ray Stevenson, rest in peace. It's such a loss for so many reasons. But in terms of Star Wars, like Baylan Skoll, I wasn't expecting that kind of thing and that kind of energy. And that, to me, might have a lot to do with Ezra, might have a lot to do with Thrawn, might have a lot to do with the continuation of that story, but also was not something that I thought would be part of it. And it's something new and something bigger, and might open up the discussions for philosophy in Star Wars, which I think Filoni is low-key a big fan of, and a lot of people just focus on other things he does. But if you hear him talk about that infamous, famous, however you view it, monologue about the Duel of the Fates fight in Phantom Menace in the Disney Gallery series, that I think he loves talking about that stuff more than anything. And I think he loves exploring that more than anything. That's one of the things that I think George put into him here, into the Clone Wars, about what the art and what's the purpose of it. And I think Ahsoka is going to be saying a lot more than just answering canon questions or Rebels 2.0 questions. But the end result, and I'll hand it over to you, sir, is I just think there's less speculation because we just kind of assume this is what we're getting and this is where we're going.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some big ticket items to speculate about. As always, gut wrenching loss with Ray Stevenson. It would have been regardless, but on the precipice of his character being one of the main things to speculate on, it makes it even harder. I think, in a way, because I think that's the exciting thing, because that's the most unknown. There's a ton of other things to speculate about, but it's almost like we have so much evidence of what's going to happen. For me, there's I think that there's some stuff going on with, we're going to get some clarity on Ahsoka's timeline. I think there's a question of where's Jason Syndulla. There's a question of Sabine's haircut timeline. There are all sorts of interesting questions, but we do know so much. We know that the big bad is Thrawn. So if there's any casting announcement, there's no reason to be going like, is that Thrawn anymore? We know so many of the main characters. The things that we would speculate on about, like Ezra related, are like, we're so close, and the answer is right, almost like on the tip of our tongue. We're gonna find it out so soon that I think maybe that's a part of not having to sort of, the things to speculate about are like very specific and in the weeds, which we love doing, and I think a lot of our listeners do. But maybe some of the things that are like, I don't mean this in a harsh way, but like easy headlines for some of the pop culture websites, there aren't as obvious of things to grab onto.
So I think kind of land in the same spot, and I'm super excited for the series. Super excited. Was already super excited, but the presence of those orangish blades just opened up some levels of excitement I didn't know I had. I love when you find another gear to shift into for Star Wars excitement.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is after the Rebels rewatch I did, which was like December-ish, November, December-ish of this last year. It was one of those things I factually knew, but it was great to experience again. That I love everything you were saying, Ken, about Filoni being interested in the philosophy. but I also think he's really interested in depicting elements of the Force that you're not going to get a full answer from, because from the character's perspective, they're mysteries to be studied that can't be entirely comprehended. It's why Jedi spend hundreds of thousands of years meditating and understanding better. And I think we can understand the world between worlds up to a point, but I think it's meant to be a mystery that can never be entirely solved. I think the Bendu, we can understand the character's meaning and what it means to the other characters, but it's meant to be a little bit of a mystery. And seeing that shot with Ahsoka and Balin in some kind of mystical space that looks Mortis-like, that looks World Between Worlds-like, makes me really excited to see him dive into those kinds of ideas of what this means to the characters will be clear, but we'll be introduced to even more great, strange, mystical spaces and beings that we get to discuss and debate.
Yeah.
Because they're not entirely knowable. I love how much we know in canon, but I do think it's really healthy for us to be able to embrace what we don't know or only half know and enjoy the mystery and enjoy the speculation.
Yeah, I love what you're saying about that stuff there from Mortis to World Between Worlds and whatever we might get, and whether it's, you know, revisiting different corners of those same spots, right? I'd love to go around. No, this is the other side of Mortis, the one with the part with the gift shop or something like that. But there was even this week I was witness to a discussion of World Between Worlds that I wasn't really part of. I just was there kind of witnessing it. And there's so much room for interpretation of World Between Worlds, but there's also, I think, a lot of just misunderstanding of what it represents. So keeping with what you're saying of there's not going to be a textbook that comes out and Ahsoka goes, World Between Worlds is this, which is exploring it more and exploring the themes behind it and what it represents to the characters might help a larger understanding and a larger desire to dig into what it means versus what it is. That's something that's exciting, and that there's no true answers. Mortis, you and I did the deep dive on Clone Wars Report not too long ago, maybe over a year now. Time flies, but I still don't come out. I came out of there with a better understanding, but not all the answers, and that's part of the point to your answer. And then maybe that's the Force. What the Force is asking us sometimes, right? Like Indiana Jones, take a leap of faith.
Yeah, like we know that Palpatine wants to control it to abuse it, but you know, we don't know would that have been possible? Would the World Between Worlds let him? You know, I love that kind of stuff. Want to pop up this kind super chat from Ken Plume, who paid $2 to let me know that he did not agree with my assessment. that we had a little dip in numbers because people do not want to see toys opened. This takes me back to my theater days when people would pay money to find out that they disagreed with me. Absolutely great. Thank you, Ken. I want to get up to Ken and I did not pre-discuss this. Ken Napzok and I did not pre-discuss this. I love this metric, and I'm eyeing how far I need to walk to get to my figure I'm going to open.
We're at 81 views. It was at 86. It just dropped. Sometimes YouTube numbers fluctuate. If all we have to do is hit 100 concurrent viewers, and we'll start opening. We don't have to maintain it. We just got to get up. So if you got burner accounts, like say, I don't know, PLD, who maybe made it look like another podcast was watching, go ahead and watch. And that comment, by the way, folks, wasn't from the person you thought it was.
Yes. I think PLD explained that he got a little excitement going. But we're excited that PLD is here. Yes. Rednax42 also asks, are we allowed to ask non-Star Wars questions or that later in the broadcast? We were encouraging Indy questions, but yeah, if you have other non-Star Wars questions, that's just fine.
Love that. Trey T and Brian Tiller in chat, but I just like that Trey T's like saying, hey, bud, to you and I. He's just like, hey, bud. He's really saying it to Brian Tiller, but
yeah.
All right. That was you. I thought I had one, and where did it go? Oh, here we go. Tim says, hi, nice to see you on air. Tim, it's nice to have you here. Have you ever felt that everything is so great that you thought that you're actually in the Star Wars universe, the most immersive experience for you? Oh, that's great. This is the daydream believer part of being a Star Wars fan. When do you actually get into feeling you're in Star Wars, Joseph?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to take that. There's the idea of a Star Wars related experience that felt so deep. This is actually Star Wars. Mm-hmm. I think the closest thing for me was the last trip I made to Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge with my wife and her parents. We were there for 3 days, and I was like, I'm probably going to get sick of being in the parks. And I was, no, not at all. And every night, Sarah's parents went to bed just like a little bit earlier than us, just like maybe like an hour, 90 minutes before the park closed. Then Sarah and I would have this weird sort of like dash through the now getting mostly empty park of what is like the one ride or the one thing we should do. And the last night we zipped to Galaxy's Edge to see if we could get into Oga's for last call. And
great.
we couldn't, but we just wandered around and it was deserted except for the employees and the last couple of people trickling out of Oga's Cantina. And everybody who's had the wonderful opportunity to be there understands, and I'm sure the people who've just seen images online, they designed it real well. So there's nothing that you can physically see if you're in the right space that tells you you're not in Star Wars. And it felt like it felt like this is really Star Wars, and it's like Tuesday and it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m. and the bars and the shops are all closing and everybody's just kind of wandering home. It felt the most like I was just in Star Wars because there was nothing to see that didn't feel like Star Wars.
That's beautiful. That's poetic, sir. What an experience. I had a similar vibe, going to Galaxy's Edge. I don't want to make this just a commercial for Galaxy's Edge, but finally getting there on an early morning. I told the story before, but it's just like I wasn't cynical about it. I was excited, but I thought in no real world would I be affected on some emotional level. How foolish was I? Turned the corner, saw the Falcon, and tears just welled up in my eyes. So there's big moments like that, but there's also other moments where, like, a lot of people listening know I had a long career in public safety, and I ended as a security director. I was a suit and tie guy and a paper pusher, but I started as just a retail guard working security at an empty mall at night. And at 3 a.m, I had one of those long 4D cell flashlights, which are classified as weapons in some states. And I would be bored. It was 22, 23. And I was walking around a mall corridor at 3 a.m. I'd pull it out and I'd pretend to be like a stormtrooper in a hallway. And just that kind of silliness where you love this thing so much. I didn't really think I was in Star Wars. And even then I wouldn't really want to be a stormtrooper, but it was my own little daydream to just pull into it. And that's why I say we all are Star Wars kid playing with our lightsaber and making the sounds. And when Laura Dern says, yeah, I went pew and Rian Johnson kept in the film. I love that. I still love that because it's just like, that's kind of what we do. And that's kind of when I feel it's super immersive, where it's just, you're like, I always joke about getting on the freeway and sometimes my car's an X-Wing. Like it's just, it's silly, but you believe it for a split second and that's all you need.
Yep. I really, really agree with that. I think for me, like non-Star Wars, like not being at a Star Wars place like Galaxy's Edge, there's some of those sunset moments. If you're in the right horizon moments, if you're in the right place, in the right mood, you can like hear the binary sunset playing. I think I mentioned this before when my wife and I went to Sequoia National Park, and we climbed up to this place called Sunset Rock, and no one else up there. The ground you're standing on is just a massive, massive rock. And I remember just kind of looking out at the horizon and just kind of feeling like Luke of like, I got older Luke. I got places to do, places to go, things to do. I'm not done yet. That was a good Star Wars moment.
Well, we have an update, Joseph. A beautiful answer. Up to 93 concurrent viewers. I don't know why I can't say that word. It's the grapefruit rattler that I have here. 94. If we get 6 more, Joseph and I will open up these figures. That's right. We're gamifying life today, right here on the channel. And then shortly, Lauren Romo will be here. And later in the show, Brian Ward is going to be here as well. We're opening up some guest channels here today.
You said gamifying life. This is gamifying some fun of opening up Star Wars presents. I think we draw a clear line. I'm not going to be like, at 150 viewers, I'll allow myself to use the bathroom today. Like, we're not going that far.
I'll eat today if. Yeah. Love that. All right. Questions coming in here while we wait to open up figures. What do you got?
Yeah. I am. Here's a good indie question. Grab here from Still Bill. Another great user pick, Bob Dylan there. Have you guys watched Young Jedi Adventures yet? Question mark. My 4-year-old and I have really been digging it. Ken, have you progressed in your Young Jedi adventure?
I have not. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I've seen 4 adventures. I loved it. I just had a big smile on my face. I wish I was 4 and that this is how I discovered Star Wars. It goes without saying it's not something that's necessarily for me. However, it's so broken down in terms of Star Wars themes and ideas. I think we all need to watch it. I think the world needs to watch Young Jedi Adventures. And through Nubs, we can learn a better future.
I agree. I just watched the last one, and I'm really, really bummed that I'm out of episodes. I watched each 15-minute episode by itself, something to watch while I was eating breakfast or sometimes lunch. And it's entertaining, great for kids, obviously, very soothing, because I do think that there's a thing where we have these life lessons that we tell kids, and then from a cynical perspective, sometimes you get older and be like, yeah, that's what we tell the kids. But let's do things the way adults are going to do them. And I think I believe, and Star Wars believes, in the actual lessons in Young Jedi Adventures. Those are the actual Jedi belief. And the beautiful thing about the Jedi is they struggle to not be weighted down by the cynicism and say, no, we really believe these things about teamwork, that we're all connected, about kindness, helping others. And I have to say, two favorite things about Young Jedi Adventures. The very last, the last couple episodes are getting into more thorny moral complexity, particularly the very last episode. Because some of them are like, hey, let's be nice. Or some of them are like, whoa, slow down. Like, good life lessons. Share and slow down. Great.
Run in the temple. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but it's definitely, and I'd love to hear parents' perspectives, but it's definitely getting into a little bit more of, this is a bigger idea. So I love that. And Nubs is weaponized, cute and charm and fun, and it works amazingly well. I love the weird joke that he is speaking a different language, because I watched with the screen caps, and it always says speaking Pubian. But it's also that joke where it's like, but it sounds a little like he's just kind of got some cotton or marbles in his mouth and is saying exactly what we can understand. I like that joke a lot.
And it's Steve Blum doing it, right? He's doing the voice, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, D. Bradley Baker.
Sorry. D. Bradley.
Yeah.
Apologies to both parties. That's amazing. All right, we're a few minutes away from Lauren Romo joining the show. I've got to reset something here on the YouTube side. That's great. All right, and we're down to 90. We had 98 viewers. We'd now done 95. If you got to go to work or you got to go live life, we're not asking you to stay around while we
understand.
We understand. But tweet it out. Go on the ForceCenter Discord. Tell people we need 5 more people, and then Ken and Joseph will allow themselves fun.
We are just marching through dire, serious, boring times. Oh, we're at 99.
99.
So 99. Close to freeing an Obi-Wan and an Indy.
Yeah, if you're creating burner accounts right now, we won't know.
I'm pulling this up from Steve Breedlove. My kids got hooked with Rebels. We watched one episode of Young Jedi. I think they're too cool for it. LOL. They are 7 and 10.
That's amazing.
Well, I bet they'll swing back to it.
That's amazing, Steve. That's great. Nathan just joined. Nathan's here. Thank you. We're getting there. No, we didn't miss the Doctor Who question. Doctor Who's coming up here in a bit. So we got actually 2. So while we're trying to get these numbers up here, Joseph, let's just do this. This is kind of an other center. You take it over on the Doctor Who stuff.
Yes. Rednax 42 says, I know Joseph is a Doctor Who fan. Any thoughts of covering 60th anniversary RTD2, which I love. If people are not Doctor Who fans, the showrunner Russell T Davies is coming back. I have not seen it Star Warsified that way. That's very funny to say RTD2. Maybe covering it on an Obsessed podcast. So my other podcast, Obsessed, has gone on a long journey. It's over 10 years old. I started it doing it as a live show in a theater in the back of a bowling alley in Minneapolis. And then for a long time did one-on-one interviews with a bunch of great people here in Los Angeles in my apartment. And then when the pandemic hit, I did the podcast with my wife, Sarah, for a long time. And it just got to be a point of I just had a little bit too much on my plate. So it's been on a little bit of a pause. I'm thinking of doing Obsessed as a reward for my Patreon, which is not in no way. I'm not trying to pitch that Patreon right now. But that's the way I think I'm doing it. And I'd love to cover more Doctor Who. I've done some general episodes in the past. If you want to search Doctor Who Obsessed Joseph Scrimshaw, you'll probably find some weird photos and also old episodes of my podcast Obsessed talking about it. I think that there's a possibility of maybe covering it in an other center way on Star Wars in at least like 1 or 2 special episodes. I haven't talked to Ken about this at all, but I think there's a real interesting comparison because I think Russell T Davies wants to Star Wars-ify Doctor Who in terms of having lots of shows and building out the connected universe.
Sounds intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. There
Yeah,
you go.
thank you.
I don't think so that was a weird. I don't think I knew the history that Obsessed did start as a live show in a theater. That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. There's some wild shows. It was very, very fun to listen to the early episodes where I had not yet learned to speak softly into a microphone, and really a lot of screaming.
Indeed. All right, we are so close. We keep jumping up to 99. We're gonna get there. Spread the word. 100 viewers, live concurrent viewers. We'll open up these toys. But we do have a guest. This is one of the things we want to do here more and more on the Q&As. We, of course, also will acknowledge when Jennifer is around and can. Jennifer Landa will show up to these live Q&As. Don't you worry. She's also right now on a much-needed vacation, so she's out for a bit. But joining us here right now on the show is someone who we've had the pleasure of meeting. In fact, we first met in person at Star Wars Celebration Chicago in 2019. Since then, she started a wonderful Star Wars podcast called the Galactic Broadcast. I always mess it up. There's the Galactic podcast and then the Geek Broadcast, and I always miss those two up. She'll correct me here. But please welcome to the show, everybody, Lauren.
Hello,
Hi,
Lauren.
how are you guys? You guys doing all right?
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah, that's on me, Ken. I have
What's
too
on
many podcasts that start with a G that sound familiar. So that's on me. It's not on you. It's not on you. That's on me.
No, it's I'll get it right. It's the gal is capitalized, GAL, the gals, the Galactic Podcast.
Yeah, you just need a third G podcast, and then you can start a G network.
I've already had that in mind, Joseph. So and might as well just keep it going, right? Might as well just keep it going.
That is great. So do you have a teaser for what the third G podcast might be?
Ooh, not right now. It's still kind of early, but
Okay.
there's stuff. Me and a friend of mine we're talking. So early talks.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Lauren, you ready to answer some questions with us here?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
I got to make sure I get the right thing up here, because when I bring up a question with 3 people, it erases the camera angle that we have here. But let's go to Yassi Sophie, who says, when the Rebels watch sessions begin. Hey, yeah. And I think this is a great one to ask with you, Lauren, because you're a big Star Wars Rebels fan. Yeah.
Yes. Oh God, I love Rebels. Rebels is probably my go-to. It's my go-to Star Wars. Just background, just playing it, just letting it loop. Like it's just something about the story, the characters that it's so wholesome and it's so Star Wars, like family driven, the themes. I mean, you guys have talked about it obviously a lot here, but yeah, just the overall aesthetics. I love the artwork. I don't know if a lot of people appreciate it as much as I do. I love the art style that they do in Rebels. I love it. And then just the characters, the stories, it's so, I like how they, sprinkled in new characters and then still gave you legendary characters. I mean, Lando shows up. You see Bail Organa. Like, you have those little, like, nods of like, oh, okay, I know where they're at, or I know that person. That's why I just love it so much. Huge animation, and I am hoping they do like another full length theatrical animation movie. I don't know if you guys would love that too. I think the animation's there, don't you think? Like it's to the point where it's good now. Like not to say that it wasn't before, but like technology today and what they have done, right? Yeah, it's so cinematic.
Yeah, the bad details of the Jedi are phenomenal visually. So yeah, I would absolutely love that. I one of the things that I really appreciated on the Rebels rewatch that I did is just being able to watch it totally free of any sort of reaction to this is the show that's replacing Clone Wars, or this is Disney's sort of first step into running Lucasfilm, and just totally watch it as the show it is. And even with that, it's just fun to watch that journey from that first season, including, like you're saying, a lot of the original trilogy characters of Lando and Leia and R2 and 3PO. And in that way, sort of playing it safe for the time. Yeah. And then you just get a couple of seasons later and like, Maul's back, everybody. And it's all Hondo all the time. And the Band-Aid just gets ripped off and like, no, we love Clone Wars. We love the prequels. Let's go.
Yeah, one of the things I love too, you're talking about those new characters that show up in season 1, but kind of get to grow and go into bigger, even more epic parts of the Star Wars saga. Just that testament to what is new becomes familiar and loved, and eventually, sadly, old. Like we'll all figure out. But those brand new characters that I initially was like, I don't know, the colors are too bright. I don't know about this. Now they seem like Star Wars to me. We've got to live with these characters for now. Crazy enough, coming up on 10 years. Woo.
Yeah, God, wow.
Yeah, they just are Star Wars, and that's for us, an old dog like me, but the new kids who came along and that was their entry point to Star Wars. Just fascinated by that kind of thing as well, and I love puffer pigs now. So,
I mean, who doesn't love a good puffer pig now? I mean, come on.
I didn't for a while, but now I do.
Now Ken we pulled Ken into it, so there you go. That's a big win for us.
And speaking of formerly, it jumps on me sometimes. Douglas Bois saying AP5's fleeting moment of serenity while floating in the vacuum of space.
My God.
How I envisage life could be in a perfect world. That moment is both comedy, but it's also just so strangely beautiful. AP5 is a great character. I love the relatable obsession. We had the question earlier about organizing our books. We should ask AP5 how to organize our Star Wars books. So the idea that for a droid that craves everything to be organized, to be floating in the vacuum of space and see the way the galaxy is organized and be at peace is beautiful.
That's one of my favorite moments. I mean, and it's not like I'm not being ironic about it either. Like it is one of my favorite moments because it is one of those like it's comical, like you're saying, Joseph, but then it is almost like, wow, just he's in space floating, like just embracing his like what his life is going to be now, and these beautiful creatures are flying around him, and then he gets so sad when he gets picked up, and it's just like, oh, AP. I hope we see him in live action. That would be a really fun little Easter egg, I think, for us fans for sure, especially Rebels fans.
Yeah, I'm so jazzed about Huyang in Ahsoka, and I feel like AP5 can't be far behind.
Right.
So great comments about Rebels in chat here. Johnny C. Books and Comics is my next tattoo. Is going to be a puffer pig.
Yes, Johnny.
It's a 2-part tattoo, though, right? You need a small one on one arm, and then
and the comment that you brought up there, Mark, our buddy Mark says, "See the Perkles and Mandalorian was mind blowing, and we wouldn't have that without Rebels." That's a great point as well.
That's a really good point.
Regarding the movie talk there, PLD says, I think it'd be cool to get a Disney Plus animated movie where we could look at something that might not require series, but might not get a theatrical release. I think that's more possible now than ever. Who knows? And yes, there's obviously some business going on in Hollywood that we have to sort out here in the world. But I think I've said this before, but I don't know what the status of it is, but there's that animated War of the Rohirrim, Lord of the Rings movie that is in the Jackson kind of timeline, so to speak. I'm very excited to see that, and I'm sure it will be gorgeous. The Clone Wars season 7 alone. How many times have people on podcasts, us included, say just so cinematic? It is. It is gorgeous, and it would work. And I think whether we see it in theaters or in our home theaters, I'd be excited for that.
Yeah. Redneck 42 here says, agreed. Listen to Dark Disciple audiobook and love an animated version. I agree with that specifically because there's so many of us who love Asajj Ventress, love Quinlan Vos, and there's a lot that happens in that story that's important to those characters, but the kind of bigger picture Clone Wars. I would love to see Tales of the Jedi expand out to like what are one-off 90-minute to 2-hour stories that are kind of begging to be finished, like Dark Disciple.
Oh God, Asajj Ventress, I'm with you, Joseph. Like, she's one of my favorite characters, hands down. That's why I said I think it'd be fascinating to sit down and talk to her, like the stories she must have, like with Dooku, and then even post Dooku, and like that little time frame of her being a bounty hunter, like after she leaves Boba Fett, like who did she go after? Like, I want all those stories. That's just the Asajj Ventress fan in me wants it all, for sure.
Agreed.
Well, Joseph's picking another question here. Mark says, I'd love to animate a movie set in the High Republic era. And I think that's a great way to do that. That's a great way.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to go back to some older questions to make sure that we try to get them all. The Graham DeLorean says, if there ever was an Obi-Wan Kenobi series release on DVD, what kind of extras besides the already made behind the scenes special? Well, I'm going to throw out one thing, and then I want to pitch to Lauren. For that behind the scenes special, there's the great footage of Ewan and Hayden watching Star Wars up on the big screen. I wonder how much they watched. I really hope that they watched the entire prequel trilogy front to back and had to stand there for like 9 hours or whatever it is. And I want that uncut, including them taking bathroom breaks and one of them just standing there alone and talking to the gaffer. I want it all.
Hayden like a sandwich, just like that.
Right. That would be really fascinating to know. Like, did they just pick out certain parts? I would love if they like, here, guys, here's a couch, here's some snacks, watch it, and let's just film you like that. I would watch that. I would watch that in a heartbeat, just to hear them talk about those times, right? And just like their memories or experiences. I think to the Graham DeLorean's question, I think what would be for me, I would love more of like the bringing the idea together, having those conversations with Ewan and with Hayden, and then like seeing them meet for the first time on set, and all, like I want all that. Like, just give me all the details of what they did to bring this together as a series, and even from the movie concept that it was, as we know. So I would sit down and watch. I'm with you, Joseph. Sit down and watch them watch the entire prequels. That would be amazing. That'd be so funny, and I would watch it 100%.
Ken, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and keeping in tradition with the beginning doc of the Phantom Menace, and then going into some of the stuff that we would see later on with them training and everything in the later fights, seeing the detailed the flashback fight, in the Jedi Temple, and actually just watch them training, getting back into shape, getting back into sword fighting shape. That'd be kind of a fun, it's poetry, it rhymes moment for me in terms of BTS stuff. And then also just going, I want to say deeper, that BTS thing they did air on Disney Plus was a different feel than, say, the Disney Gallery Mandalorian thing. I get where they went with it. It was about legacy. It was about all those kind of things, and focused on Hayden, Ewan, and Deborah Chow. But I think there's some stuff left on the table of just kind of that round table kind of discussion of I don't want choices explained, but just some of the thought processes and the joys and passions for Star Wars that the creators had for that series, the writers and directors and producers.
Sorry, Lauren. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, I was gonna agree with Ken. I would love a round table with like Deborah Chow and Ewan and Hayden, just all sitting and just talking about their thoughts of like coming back of these characters and all that. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. A round table would be great, especially if you get the right person to really tease as much out of them as possible. Bo Peep shares a thing that I want: a historical deep dive into the creation of Obi-Wan as a character from the OT to the PT to the series. Would be awesome.
I like that.
We really, Ken and I really loved that Boba Fett, which is very short documentary, but it wasn't about the series. It was about the character and their creation and everybody involved. And I think with Obi-Wan, I think you could do like a 90-minute documentary that is it's not about the show. It is about the character, and get fresh footage with Lucas, because there's fresh footage from Lucas in that Boba Fett doc. So he must be up for it. I would love an interviewer to really try to dig in from Ewan's perspective as an actor of what parts of him, what parts of the character does he relate to, what makes sense to him, what challenges him, all those kinds of things. Everybody involved over the years analyzing the character would be phenomenal. I also think Hayden's such a still waters run deep guy, and I feel like if we get the right interviewer, I think he has a lot of thoughts on Vader that he sort of hints at. Yes, but that he's almost always being interviewed like real quick on a couch at a convention, not a sit down, go deep and tell me how how your relationship to Vader manifests when you're on your llama farm or whatever. Like, go bleeping deep with Hayden, because he's got it in him. Final thing for me, I think one of the really strong things about Kenobi is a celebration of some of the mother figures that have existed in Star Wars for a long time that we haven't spent time with before. Aunt Beru is Luke's mom, and obviously Brea. And Leia is a future mother of many characters symbolically as well as literally. So I would love like a great hour-long documentary about, moms of Star Wars.
Oh, I would like that a lot too. Yeah.
Love
100%.
that.
Yeah.
David McKay in chat here says this. I don't know. Hayden and Diego are doing actors on actors soon. Which that is fun.
That's gonna be a good one. That would be really fascinating.
Great stuff there. I love that there. Let's just get into some fun speculation here. Rick Villanueva has got this question. Could Tamiri Blagg be the antagonist? The new Jedi Order, right? Irresponsible speculation here. Or could it be one of the new Jedi? Where do you go with this? Broom Kid, Lauren. Where do you want him in Star Wars? Do you want him in Star Wars going forward? And do you want him to be in this movie as Rey teaches the new Jedi Order?
I think that'd be really cool. I do. Bring that character that we see in The Last Jedi and have him be with Rey, and have him be one of those, up and coming young Padawans, young Jedi that she is training. That'd be cool. I think that would be such a nice little, for me, like a nod to Last Jedi, just because huge fan. I know both as both of you guys are. It would be cool to see those little threads from that movie be really pushed to the forefront. And with a character like that, it could work. I mean, we're 15 years post Rise of Skywalker. So that would fit. I would love it. Yeah. Bring them in, bring Broom Kid, bring everybody. Let's do it. Let's have some fun with it for sure. Yeah.
And Temi Blave is I'm trying to get my Ukrainian Circassian tongue to say that correctly, but the former behind him, I follow him on Instagram. He's growing up. The kid's growing up because Last Jedi is in our rearview mirror in terms of the calendar.
So that's crazy to think. Yeah,
he could be there. It'd be kind of fun for me. Yeah, I don't even need it to be deep. I don't need him to be a character. Just having him there would be kind of fun in a way, and just kind of, I don't need that moment paid off. I think it's a very meta moment for Ryan, but it also is important to just obviously the stuff with Luke and the legacy and the importance and the hope and all those kind of things. We can go deep if you want, but I do like the idea. It's something that's possible, so why not do it?
Yeah.
Those of you,
the idea of antagonists is really funny to me.
That's the actual question.
Right.
I like the idea that he's still now he's Broom Man, or maybe he's fallen to the dark side and he's Darth Broom. He's sharpened the brooms to deadly points, and he's just got like deadly sharp brooms that he's stabbing people with. That's antagonist Tamiri Blagg.
Yeah, like
as
if his whole time in the Star Wars galaxy, he's like, my name is Tamiri Blagg, not Broom Kid.
The origin of his villain, right, is being called Broom Kid for sure.
Yeah. In cases, the Jedi need to be swept away.
There you go.
I am reaching under this carpet. I am Darth Dustbuster. Yeah, I'm honestly torn about him showing up. I would love it because I think a lot of people would love it. I think if he showed up, I would love it tied to his story that we see in Last Jedi is that he needs the hope of the Jedi because he's under oppression. Does do those poor kids break the system on Canto Bight, or does that continue even after the First Order has fallen? Because it's obviously some First Order villainy, but it's also just economic class instability, which maybe is what leads him to becoming Darth Broom. So I'd be perfectly happy to see him. The other part of me feels like he's a real character, but at the end of that film, he is an avatar for all of us. He's an avatar for everybody being a Star Wars kid or a Star Wars adult. He is this idea that yes, the Jedi matter. Yes, Star Wars matters because it's an inspiration that when we're down, there is hope and the power is inside of us and all sorts of wonderful things. I love that idea. And I think there is sometimes, I think, again, mostly with like news articles wanting to make clickbait, they want it to be, who is that kid? Is he Rey's brother? And turn him into like a guessing game when I feel like a part of his power as a character is being an avatar for all of us and making a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're actually taking me back to some past angst and anger in my Star Wars fandom of having friends. And this is offline conversations of like people kind of eye roll. Oh, and of course Disney was setting up a new series with that kid, and it's like, were they? Is that what you really think? Are you so cynical to believe that that's what's going on? Is this? This isn't a shot across the bow of Marvel MCU, but is that what you're expecting of all this stuff, or was it something more? And I agree with your take on it, Joseph, that it is us in the mirror. It is the kid in the mirror, without a doubt. And yeah, so I agree with that take there.
Yeah, I'm not actively against it, but I was frustrated by the reaction to, well, this is like Nick Fury showing up in Iron Man. Like, the hell it is. It's the idea of it. It's not. Right. It's not like. I think the thing is that so much of our storytelling, especially connected storytelling, is getting criticized for having one show or story's purpose be setting up the next story. And I really don't. I think that criticism is sometimes valid, and it frustrates me when that criticism isn't valid because you made that up. I do not think Rian Johnson was like, and I'm gonna pitch Broom Kid Disney Plus, and that's the point of this scene. It's so deeply, to me, passionately, in my opinion, not the point. So it frustrated me when people made it a Nick Fury moment when it's such a beautiful idea.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
The hell it is. Scrimshaw. I would love that. We're hanging out here with Lauren Romo of the Galactic Podcast. Chad's here. Says, hey, I know her. Chad over there.
Hi, Chad.
The Lord's work in the Facebook group over there. We're having fun. Lauren's here for a few more minutes. So Lauren, we'll ask you some questions. But actually, I want to ask you, Lauren, you and I, even when we play, you often play Fortnite with me on my streams. You, me, Ranger Donald, and Mr. Plume. But Indiana Jones, where are you at with Indiana? Relationship to Indy, and are you excited for this Dial of Destiny film coming out? And are you going to give it a lukewarm 5-minute stand ovation or a 5-minute stand ovation?
Well, it's really funny because Indiana Jones, it's a franchise that I do like. I have seen them. I've seen all the movies at least once. It's not one of those that really grabs me initially. But what's really, really weird is that the one Indiana Jones movie that I have watched multiple times is The Last Crusade. And it's because of Sean Connery. Like, I just love it. I mean, that's it. I mean, not obviously Harrison Ford, love him too. But Sean Connery in that movie, I laugh so hard every time he was on screen in that movie. I mean, it was just so funny, especially when he's flying, like they're flying in the airplane, they're trying to get away. Like, oh God, it's just, but he was really smart though, too. I love his character as Indy's dad. Like, he gave him wisdom, every step of the way too. So The Last Crusade is probably my favorite Indiana Jones movie. But yeah, I've only seen all the movies, again, like maybe once, twice. But I know that they're on Disney Plus. I'll definitely give them a watch, and obviously listen to you guys' Patreon only right now breakdowns. of the films for sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Lauren doing the hard sell there. We appreciate it.
Hard sell.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's an honest appraisal of your relationship to the films, and I love hearing that. And it's always interesting though with Dial of Destiny. We're in a bit of a season of Indy right now, and you know, you go to the toy aisle and there's a couple of them there, and soon maybe on the show today I'll open this one. But it's a chance to rediscover it for folks, and I think that you'll see a lot of that happen.
It looks like from some of the trailers for me that Dial of Destiny is going to be in some ways a person looking back and assessing their life, the ups and downs, the good and the bad. If I had a chance to change something, would I? Here's this woman who is sort of following in my footsteps. Am I encouraging her to make different choices than I am? Does that perspective, that very generational story perspective, make you more interested in Dial of Destiny?
I think so. I mean, I think it is definitely, like you're saying, Joseph, a generational like perspective of what that character has gone through. Now, what he's seen through, is it his granddaughter? I think is
goddaughter.
Goddaughter. Okay, goddaughter. What she is going through now, and obviously, like you're saying, the parallels between what he has done, what maybe she is trying to continue with his legacy. So I am excited to go see it for sure. I mean, hey, it's Indiana Jones. Yeah, definitely we'll go see it. It's Harrison Ford, Phoebe, Wally Richard, like love her. Like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see this in the cinema. I think it will be one of those like big events, right? It's one of those big event movies that it's going to be worth the price of admission to see in the big screen in all its glory. So yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. I'm definitely excited to see how they do. I mean, I'll have to rewatch the films, but just to kind of how, like you're saying, Joseph, tie it all together and like what they do with that character and maybe and pushing the legacy forward for Indiana Jones for sure.
Great answer.
Nice.
I also love that you said cinema and going to the cinema. I had a Scottish friend who used to say, "You're going to the movie house," and I love it.
I like that movie house, though. I
think we should all start saying cinema, because I think that's what we need to make going to the movies just like really come back. I can't wait to go to the cinema and see Barbie myself personally. Honestly,
right.
Love that. Well, Lauren, it's been a blast having you hang out here. We really appreciate it. And any final parting thoughts to the Star Wars fandom here today?
No, I mean, obviously, you guys are one of my favorite people to listen to and just talk Star Wars. So I appreciate you having me on, and love the community you guys have built, obviously, with the Discord as well. It's so much fun. So again, I'll throw get on Patreon, kids. Listen to all the exclusive stuff. And when it's on Discord, it's a lot of fun over there in ForceCenter for sure.
And we appreciate the kind words. Make sure you put yourself over as you leave on out here. When's a new episode of the Galactic podcast hitting the airwaves? Let them know where to find it.
Yeah, so we are small hiatus, but we're definitely going to be back doing a lot of Ahsoka stuff. Getting ramped up for that. But we are on Apple Pod, Google Play, Spotify, all of those major platforms. We're on Twitter at Galactic Pod, and then Geek Broadscast is also there at Geek Broads Pod. See, too many G's. And then again, we're all same, major platforms on there, and we have a new episode actually dropping tomorrow for Geek Broadscast. Yep.
There you go. Check it out. Follow Lauren as well as at Low Road Notes. Thank you, Lauren. We'll see you next time down the line.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you so much.
We're soon going to be joined by our other guest for today. But Joseph, should we catch up? Let's see. We are, the likes are going up, but we're losing some steam on our figure opening challenge.
Ken, have you retweeted on our actual ForceCenter account, letting people know the stakes?
I have not let them know the stakes. I could do that right now.
No. I'm good. You're man, and I'll do that. I just wanted people to know why I'm suddenly staring at my phone. It's not like I'm ordering pizza or anything.
Oh man, I could go for some pizza. All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'll get our next guest is getting fired up here, but let's answer a couple questions here from our good friend Anakin Crespin, who's in chat with 2 wonderful super chats. We appreciate the support. Anakin says, 1 of 2. Hello, friends. I recently finished reading Path of Deceit and Convergence, and at the same time, I've been playing Jedi Survivor. My question is, do you think it would be worth it to begin reading Battle Scars or should I wait until I finish the game and listen to the Battle of Jeddah instead? Also, any thoughts on Survivor? All right. Well, while Joseph's tweeting and I'm having a trouble with my grapefruit radler here, the drink I've been sipping all day, I'll say this. Joseph has not had a chance to play Survivor. I obviously let him answer for himself, but this is something I do know. PlayStation 5's not the easiest thing to just go down to the corner store and get right now. And Joseph's busy working on a short film and knows the distraction of hours of Star Wars gaming could get in the way, which I respect his decision on that. I have finished Jedi Survivor. I started streaming it, and that experiment ended fast. I don't like a lot of aspects of the game, and it's more about gameplay, Anakin, than the story. I thought the story was interesting. No spoilers, but the way it involves some High Republic lore and all that kind of stuff was wonderful. The character of Grease is actually it's kind of emerging as one of my favorite little Star Wars characters to enjoy. I think the writing for Grease is wonderful in the games, and he just legitimately makes me laugh. He appreciates food, so I love that. So I think all that's there. I don't think you need to finish Battle Scars while playing the game, but it's definitely an interesting take on the characters and where they were and bridging some gaps. I thought Sam Meggs did a great job with this with a video game story that can be a little wild and big and epic, but tucked in its own little corner, and she kept to the themes of a lot of family, discovering who you are, how to use your power, and a big theme that she explores and sets up for the game is what do you do with the dark side? And what do you do with the dark side and the temptation of the dark side? I do think, and this is, I publicly must thank Alex Damon, our buddy at Star Wars Explained, who, when I finished Jedi Survivor, I texted him and I have some issues with some of the things the game does with power fantasy, and the use of the dark side. And then I listened to, and Alex and I talked about it, and then I listened to Alex's review of the story, and he highlighted some things I just hadn't really plugged into because I was in the middle of playing the game and trying not to fall off for the 50th time. And he really went into some themes in a beautiful way. And I texted him, I said, you know what, Alex, you have changed my appreciation of the story. I actually really like what they tried to do. And he texted me back, yeah, I did it. I'm a ForceCenter, which was a funny thing. But, I think the game really tries to deal with, hey, this is what happens when you're based out of anger, vengeance, revenge, and touch the dark side. You can do it. It might get what you want, but it does maybe truly, possibly, dominate your path. I just sometimes believe that's going to be overlooked and that the power fantasy is easier to appreciate and love in the video game. And that's one of the only issues I have with Survivor, but does not mean that I think the game isn't trying to reconcile the power fantasy, the video game aspect with what it means to be a Jedi. So that's my big overall take. As far as the books, I haven't read anything about Phase 2, so knock yourself out.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play Survivor yet, and I'm not caught up on Phase 2 of High Republic. We did read Battle Scars and do our big discussion of it. I had a really fun conversation with a friend who loves Survivor, loves Fallen Order. I think he beat Survivor in like 2 sittings in a day and a half, and is now like going through and getting all the things you can get. He, in fact, wrote me an email saying, I'd love to get together for dinner, partially because I need to force myself to take a break from Survivor. So all in. And he didn't even know about Battle Scars. So we had a really fun conversation where I kind of asked him, it's okay if you spoil just a little bit. Here's what the book set up, where is it going? And I really agree with Ken. I think the book is really worthwhile. I think it asks some really important questions about the dark side. I really think it Star Wars has so many great messages about found family, and what I really like about this book is this is slightly dysfunctional found family.
Yeah.
Where they deeply love one another, deeply want to stay together, and they know they might be heading in different paths or have difficult conversations. And that was a really fun and really different read. And yeah, I think you can read it whenever, because I think the value of the book is much more getting into the heart of the characters than sort of any beats of continuity, it sounds like. Because I do think that this happens sometimes in Star Wars. They were trying to write a book that would enhance Survivor, but was not necessary for Survivor. So that means in terms of events, in terms of continuity, in terms of canon, you're not going to have a super major can't miss it moment. But in terms of character development, you can go really deep and make it even richer. And I think that's what the book is.
Well said. Well said. And yeah, we'll eventually catch up to phase 2 of the High Republic. Really want to. I'm bummed. I have that stack of books on my coffee table, like I said earlier in the show, and I look at it and just go, maybe today's the day. You know, I just it's so much. It's a little overwhelming. It's not their fault. It's mine. So we'll get there.
No, I'm really bummed about being behind on High Republic and Survivor. I can't wait to get caught up.
All right. Speaking of caught up, we're going to catch up with one of our guests here. This next wonderful human being is first was a listener of the show, then became a friend. He designed the logo early on. He started doing a lot of work in this space. A lot of you recognize it. He does great work, particularly with Star Wars Explained, called Katarn's channel as well, and even here on ForceCenter. The lower thirds and overlays you see here right now are this man's work, but he also is much more than that. And we're happy to have him on the show today. Please welcome Brian Ward. Mr. Brian Ward, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
We're excited to have you actually here doing your thing.
I've got some additional special guests that I just happen to have on my desk here. It is the Constable Zuvio and the Goss Tours that I used as models when I created the animated databank brawl.
Love it. Still one of my favorite things. Occasionally, I still just put that on for Brian's animation and Mike Black's Gus Tours voice.
The beautiful mumble that he does, his Gus Tours, is a hell of a thing. And yeah, and Brian, you did a great job of editing down the actual episode because I know ForceCenter listeners will be shocked, but it was a little long, and you edited it down to the core story.
Yeah, I think I got it down to like 11 or 12 minutes, but it was very difficult to cut out some of it, but most of it was like, can I animate this or can I not? There was, not that I know how to do it now that well, but back then that was like one of the first giant animation things I tried to do. So my ability was very limited. So I was mostly thinking, oh, that's a good part of the story, but I don't have any idea how I'm going to do that. So let's just cut it out.
Well, that is a very good way to make cuts. I also have to ask you about your background. I have seen bits and pieces of you posting it on social media to see your collection. I don't think I've seen it with the great green light. Now, is it just green light, or do you change it? Like if you're in an angry mood, you make it red.
Yeah, I can change it to a bunch of different colors. I don't think I can get the angle from where I'm at right now. Let me try.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes those remotes, right?
There it goes.
Oh, okay.
Change colors.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
It's just two long LED light strips that I cut holes in the shelves and ran it all the way through, up and down. So
how big? That's you see, you belong on a streaming show, Brian. You've got the backdrop for it. Got the backdrop for it. Brian, as we choose a question here, and Joseph, any question jumps out to you, let's go ahead and dive into that. Oh, Dave Taylor's here with the super chat. Appreciate that. One of the things I want to I'm wearing right now your Dex's Diner shirt, award in the office of this new job I have yesterday, and it's quite a statement when you walk into a nerd company and they're like, Dexter Jetster. I'm like, yes, it is. You love Dexter. Where did this love begin? Was it always there? Did you grow into it? And the idea of photoshopping Dex into scenes from Mandalorian season 3, where did that come from?
Oh, the photoshopping just kind of happened. Like I photoshopped something with a few things with Bo-Katan on her throne in the episode 1 where she's just lounging there. And I thought, well, I have to do one of Dex because that would be ridiculous. And people liked it. So I did another one. And then it just kind of was like, it's very much the same story as how I started working on the Schmodown. Was I did one and then I did another and then people expected it. So I just kind of kept doing it.
It's the danger of doing things.
Yeah.
But
overall, I just like the character. I love Attack of the Clones. Obviously, there's some issues with some parts of it but I don't know. I'm more of the visual part of Star Wars. That's what I like the most. Like I love the story and the themes and all of that stuff. But give me the crazy characters and puppets and sets and all of that weirdness. And Dexter was just that whole scene. I was like, at first you're like, does this even fit in Star Wars? And then you're like, no, this is now the best part of Star Wars. And another thing I have on my desk is this sealed copy of Attack of the Clones on VHS. I just haven't had laying here.
All right. If we
The
get
background looks normal, but everything on the other side of the camera is just boxes of stuff I'm going through to kind of purge through some of my collection, get rid of some stuff. So I have stuff laying all over the place.
When did you get that VHS?
That was just a few months ago. I just saw it on eBay for like less than $10, and I was like, well, I have to have that.
It's so weird how they're becoming collectible. There's a used books and records and VHS store near me as well, and the VHS section has exploded, and all of the coolest, youngest people in the store were hovering around the VHS section. It's amazing. But like, I had that reaction too, because I think like one of the last VHS I got was Phantom Menace, and I don't have Attack of the Clones on VHS.
Yeah, I switched over to DVD pretty late, so I still had a lot of, but I remember getting the Phantom Menace, like the box set that came with a little film strip in it from part of the Phantom Menace. And but I don't think I ever owned Attack of the Clones. I think by then I had switched over to DVDs, but I didn't even know they put that movie out on VHS. So I was like, well, I have to own this.
So I have an important question, and then we'll dive into some questions from the wonderful people watching. Since you did all of the Dexter Mandalorian season 3 photoshops, is Dexter going to continue this journey with Ahsoka, or do you have another character in mind?
I haven't decided. Like, I kind of want to do somebody else because there's only so many images of Dexter out there. Like, you get like the one where he's looking through the window, and then you get the one where he hugs Obi-Wan, and then you got him sitting at the table. So you got a few different views, but after a while there were a couple episodes where I struggled with the episode where Keller and Beck saves Grogu. I was like, well, obviously I'm going to put Dexter on the back of the bike as they're escaping. But some of them you're like, I don't know exactly what to do. And I had to think about it. Luckily, I was waiting for spoiler reasons and to give myself more time. I'd wait till the Tuesday before the next episode to put it out. So I had a little more time to think about it. But I don't know, I might pick a different character for Ahsoka, or I don't know, who knows? I might not do it at all, but depends on how busy I am, I guess.
Yeah. We'll make sure not to give you work during that time, so you can you got to work it out there. Wonderful stuff. Yeah, and the VHS things. So there's a all VHS store that just opened up near me, and I pass it by on my walks when I go out walking at night. And Joseph, you're right. It's like all this other generation, like our generation's, after the CD era, getting records, right? It's like weird. It's awesome, but it's weird.
Yeah. This desire to physically hold it in your hand. I can hold Attack of the Clones in my very hand. Amazing. Ken, have you grabbed a question, or would you like me to?
Go for it. Or we can just grab this David Taylor super chat here.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's David Taylor, who we saw again in London at our comedy show. He was right there in the front row, a great participant of your set, Joseph. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Which character would you choose for each opening crawl of the Skywalker Saga films? Hope you're having a great weekend there. So let me make sure also I clear that up. All right, so let me try to understand this. Which character would you choose for each opening crawl of the Skywalker Saga films? Like which character represents the movie in the crawl that where you're taking it? David, if you want to clarify for me, because I'm slow today.
Yeah, I mean, I remember for the trivia of Schmodown, that was one of the questions that would pop up of how many characters and which characters are actually mentioned and, which character is centered. And I think it's a fascinating thing of the crawls of sometimes the character that's we're being focused on is sort of the lead of the film. But then sometimes we have a sort of little divergence to focus on whichever character we're starting with.
Yeah, right. You're right. Or just the vile gangster Jabba the Hutt.
Ooh, David Taylor's clarification is great. Yes, the character shows up in that movie, reads that crawl. Ooh, so dramatic audiobook reading of the crawl.
Ooh, even better. Okay, yeah, all right. Here we go. So should we work our way 1 through 9 quickly?
Yeah, because if I can't do math. If all 3 of us are going to do 9 films, we got to get moving.
All right. Episode 1, I'll absolutely have Jar Jar do it.
Well, I don't want to take Brian's answer, but I'm going to go with Boss Nass.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could go with Rick Ollier, so he could explain everything that happens in the movie.
That's
even
perfect.
though it's not in the script.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, episode 2, Brian, who do you have?
I mean, I got to go with Dexter.
Oh,
It's the most obvious.
Yeah.
Dexter, or I don't know, maybe Count Dooku. But
Yeah, I was going to go with Dooku because I like having at least a couple of these sort of read ironically. The mysterious Count Dooku.
I love that. I'll go with Anakin, but it's that really kind of the angry, Anakin, like kind of the anger's burbling over without Padme to calm him down. Just kind of that vibe. Revenge of the Sith. I'll go with Palpatine for this one. I might step on your answer, Joseph, but him setting it up and kind of trying to like work away, work his. It's Sheev, not Sidious, who's doing it.
Mm-hmm. I think Grievous, and it's going to take a real long time with the hacking cops. What?
I have to go with Chairman Papanoidea, just so he can have George read his own crawl.
More. Yeah. See if George says to himself, like, "Oh, this is hard to read."
Yeah. I love that. For New Hope, Brian, who do you have?
Oh God. I don't know. C-3PO probably.
Yeah, that was going to be my answer too. C-3PO in a very sterile, just telling the story kind of way, with some 3PO sound effects and R2 there. There you go. Joseph's New Hope answer is.
I'm going with Obi-Wan. Leave the jokes aside, but this is a big day for Obi-Wan. He's been waiting a long time for the events of A New Hope to happen. Let him be excited about it.
I love that one. Joseph, who do you got for Empire Strikes Back?
Ooh, I want to say a tauntaun, so we can just hear those angry Chihuahua noises.
I'm going General Raikan.
Ooh,
and he's
go
to tell like this is why you can't leave Han.
I got to go with Lando.
Yes.
Lando is just the Empire Strikes Back. I immediately think of Lando and Cloud City. So.
Love that. So Return of the Jedi. I'll go Salacious B. Crumb. Just laughed.
I want to go Jabba because it would take 3 hours.
Yeah.
But as somebody said in the chat, Yoda, we got to give one of these to Yoda and see if he struggles with it or tries to change it into his parlance, his manner of speaking.
Parlance.
Yeah, Yoda, but as he goes on in the crawl, he whispers more and more, so you have to get closer to hear what he's saying.
Love it. All right, we'll 7, 8, and 9. We can just all roll off. Joseph, give us your 7, 8, and 9 answer.
Oh wow! Okay, no pressure.
No pressure.
7 is that's a Han Solo grumble, for sure.
Oh, Luke Skywalker's manners.
Yeah. 8 is a Luke Skywalker grumble.
Yep.
And to celebrate that I wish it were possible, 9 would be Leia.
Yes. Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
There, Brian.
Probably have to throw BB-8 in there. Just have another droid that doesn't actually.
For 7.
Yeah, 7 BB-8, or maybe 8. I'd have Rey do one, and then probably have Bulio do episode
9. Cloud's an answer that people are a lot of people saying Cloud. That one there. 7. I was gonna have Luke. since Mark Hamill for that script read all that. He probably did it in the script read. If they finish the crawl by then, so I'd have him do that one. Then I was gonna say Leia for 8. Leia for 9 is perfect as well. And for 9, I was gonna have all the voices of the Jedi. They just do like readers theater through the crawl.
Yes, I would like to hear all of the Jedi yell, "The dead speak." That would be great.
The dead speak. Great question, David. Thank you for that question there as well. All right. What else? What's good for our friend Brian here?
Yeah. Well, this is Star Wars related, but big picture stuff. I read Rednecks 42. Any thoughts on Willow being? I almost said Wilrow. Any thoughts on Willow being removed from Disney Plus? My glass half full hope is that they plan to license it out to other companies. Yeah. So this is a scourge that started with some other streaming services that has come to Disney Plus, trying to allegedly cut costs by taking some shows off and rotating out some of the royalties they need to pay. Brian, what are your feelings on this? Were you a Willow fan? Did you watch it? Are you upset that you can't watch it now? Where do you go?
I did watch it. I would say yes, I'm a fan. I struggled a little bit with some of the I don't even know how to explain it, if it's the editing or there's a lot of jump cuts from one scene to another scene where they didn't explain why is the same character in a different outfit but in a different look. It wasn't a big deal. Like, overall, I thought it was a great series. I thought the characters were great. The story was interesting. I really liked all the locations and the way it looked. Like, just that one small minor thing didn't really ruin it for me. It was just kind of like, maybe I'm just too old now and it's like a younger style of show. But overall, I thought it was great. I wish they would have been to do the other seasons that I guess they had planned based on certain things. But I don't know. I mean, I don't go back and watch a lot of shows. Like, I watch the Star Wars shows again, but like the Marvel shows, I don't go back and rewatch them, even though I like them. So it's not like a big deal, but it does, as someone that makes art and has made art for things that are no longer on the internet that you can't see anymore. Like, I don't like that part of it. Like, just get it out. I understand there's royalty issues and stuff, but there's a lot of things to figure out currently in the world of creating stuff. But I wish it would be out there for people to see, and hopefully it'll come back. Maybe they'll be able to say in 2 years, Willow is back, and if you missed it the first time, see it now or something. But overall, I thought it was really good. Like, I enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing it each week. I'm not sure about the music that was at the end of some of the episodes. That was like modern music. I didn't have a problem with it. I was just, in my head, I wonder if there's like a licensing issue maybe somewhere in there, because I know video games have had that problem in the past where the license for that music runs a certain number of years, and once it's up, you either have to take it out or relicense the music. So maybe they'll have to change that out. But I would suggest to people, if they haven't seen it, I don't know if you can watch it. I don't know when it's being removed, but
I think it's gone. Yeah, it's gone now.
Okay. Well, then don't go watch it. Go onto YouTube and watch someone's reaction to it, because I wonder if those will be taken down.
That's a good question.
The use of modern music is a good point. That used to be such an issue with when releasing whole seasons of television on DVD was the hottest thing. It's been an ongoing thing where there's a one season show that got canceled and wasn't a big deal, but it's like early on when I was talking to my wife about all the different things I'm obsessed with, she's like, you know what I'm obsessed with? This one show from like 1992, and they never put it on DVD because it was kind of a World War II coming home story, and there was just too much music in it for it to be worthwhile. So I have no idea if that is a part of it, but it is. I really do hope that there's a return to physical media. I think a lot of us want that for Star Wars in general. Hey, if we don't own VCRs anymore, but we're buying Attack of the Clones on VHS, I think we'd buy things. I think we'd have that comfort. And if that option was there, I wouldn't mind as much if Disney plays the vault game that they used to for their releases. Then I would feel like I have some agency. But I just didn't watch Willow because I've never seen the original. Waiting for a special time to do it. Maybe we can cover it on ForceCenter kind of thing. Just didn't get around to the series. And it really bothers me that it's gone. Ken, where are you at? I know you covered it. You enjoyed it.
Yeah, we covered on Casually Talk, and I admitted, like, the pilot was okay to me. Like, it didn't necessarily grab me right away, but then I grew into it, and I love the characters in it. And one of the things is that it's not a story for me, and that was kind of the point of it. And it was a generational thing. Now, I don't certainly need to say it's a generational thing. It was for a lot of folks. A lot of folks saw themselves in the series. The representation of the series was stellar, at least I thought, and maybe my perspective is not the one to listen to on that, but I thought that was good. And yeah, look, the business of it, there's a lot going on business-wise, and I don't necessarily think this is in direct retaliation to the WGA. I don't think all that, but it's all kind of a big boiling mess right now. And this is a different time than even in our era for the three of us when a show got canceled, or those little shows that you were like, am I the only one that remembers the cartoon Wait Till Your Daddy Gets Home? Like, am I the only one that remembers that? Or one of my favorite shows, early 2000s, Ed, you could never really find a way to release it because the music, which was spectacular, one of the drawing points of the series, they couldn't afford it. I've always thought I never freaked out when Netflix, here's what's leaving Netflix now, because a new batch would come, and I never worried about it. But now I do. It's a little more, I don't know, it's a little darker. It seems a little more nefarious, and especially with stuff that went on at WB, HBO Max, and now Max. But beyond all the business of it, the thing about Willow, I'm actually it's one of the things that's making me grumpy. Some of the discourse this week, and it's not been a ton, it's not dominated the internet, nor should it, but that series meant a lot to the people that it meant a lot to. And there's just so many people. And I think that, like, you had some of the thoughts on the Galactic Star Cruiser, Joseph, that I thought were really insightful. About it's just so easy to be like, well, of course it got shut down. It was so expensive. And yeah, maybe that's a fact. And maybe that's something you can talk about. But think about the people that put their energy into it, and think about the people who had some dreams made, right? Or just experienced them. Willow was a series that was a mirror for a lot of people who have not seen the reflection in pop culture media for a while, or to this level, and it embraced it, and the show was so beautiful for that. And I think a lot of people are just like, well, of course that got pulled. It sucked. And I want to reach through Twitter and just tap into the dark side in a way I shouldn't. It's so dismissive, and it's people I know who are like, you're generally a very well intentioned person who just, this isn't for you, and you can't leave it there. And you're not understanding the pain that this is for folks that haven't seen themselves like this way. I thought that was one of the biggest things that the show did. Stylized, it is kind of I don't want to say youthful, but it's different. I like the music at the end, but I think, Brian, you raised a good point. That could be a rights issue too. I don't think that's the only reason they pulled it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm bummed it's gone, but I'm also bummed that people seem to be like celebrating it's gone. Well, of course, if it was better, it would have stayed. Come on, man, like do better. Do better.
Yeah, that's not what it's about. I think to the actual question we got about, is it going to show up as something that you can rent to other services? Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I'm most frustrated by and want the industry to find balance on, because I think a lot of the streaming services sold us on, here's our library, and if you give us this much a month, you can access all of Star Wars, you can access all of Marvel, and other streaming services like Paramount Plus, like they had Indy and they had Star Trek for a while. And I remember, I think it was the 40th anniversary of Wrath of Khan, and that's one of my favorite films, period, hands down. I was like, one night I was like, I'm gonna watch Wrath of Khan, and I realized that they had taken it off while everybody wanted to watch Wrath of Khan. It made it only available for rental. And I'm kind of fine with a world, like if you go on Amazon, you can find almost any movie, not every, but it's just like, it's digital going down to the video store like I did when I was a kid. I'm like, great, you pay $3 for whatever movie I want to see. I'm fine with that if everything is available. If it was like, okay, I'm going to pay $15 this weekend to watch Willow. Okay. But if the streaming service is selling me, you will have access to our library, I don't want them to play games with, except for when Willow 2 is coming out. Now we're going to take it off and you pay for it. I don't want to play that game.
I agree with that. As someone who owns one of the only copies of Dogma you can watch on DVD, and I'm considering renting it out to folks, I really agree with you. It was not as advertised, right? It's not the promised land that streaming was sold as, and first for me, like as an old school wrestling fan, WWE Network was one of the first times this kind of popped up on this scale. $9.99 a month, you get everything, and then suddenly not everything was there. And everything was like, well, why am I paying? What am I paying for? You know?
I remember also back when I used to have more time to play games and follow all of that. Back when it was like the last generation of consoles came out. The big thing was being able to play a game offline. And the argument was, you're not buying, even though you have a physical copy of the game, you're buying a license to play it when we say you can play it. And so it's almost like all of these old arguments that I remember from back then are now being applied to something else. I don't know. I know I shouldn't have probably brought up my complaints about Willow before saying that I liked it, because I did actually like it. It was
you started with you liked it.
Yeah, because like the editing it wasn't bad. It's just my brain doesn't work that way. Like I want to be able to map out in my head, okay, this character walked from here over to here. That's a me issue. Like I don't want to scare anyone off from, if it ever comes back, from watching it. But overall, I did really enjoy it. It wasn't what I was expecting it to be. I mean, I haven't watched the movie I saw it back when it was on HBO when I was younger, just like most movies that I'm familiar with. It's like you've seen it 50 times on HBO in the summer because there's nothing else to do. But but I haven't watched it since. I couldn't really tell you what had happened in the original movies, but I thought it was really good. And I'm sure there was some connection. It's like, Infant's Nest is in the show. Like it's hard not to disconnect your brain, and Wicket is in the show, or the 50 other characters that he played in Star Wars.
Very, I was looking forward to seeing Aaron Kellyman. I do also want to point out that, Ken, you have ignited in I am Spartacus moment. We have an explosion in the chat of I also have Dogma. Oh, hell, screenshot. We hit 100.
We hit 100. We did it. All right. So we're going to...
It was talking about Dogma. That's what did it.
It was talking about Dogma. Yeah. So there you go. We'll get to that. I want one more question with Brian, and we'll let Brian go enjoy his day, and then we'll open up some figures. James Livingston's got this wonderful question here. Has Dexter been included or even mentioned in recent canon? I would love to have confirmation of his fate, current business status, in the post-Return of the Jedi galaxy. So we got where he and Kenobi met, of course, in the Padawan book, right? So we got that. But yeah, as far as going forward, the only thing, and I just was on Wikipedia looking up some stuff about Star Wars food for a thing I was putting together. And there's something, I don't know where it's sourced, but there's something of like the diner is empty. Like it's out of business, closed, empty as of right now, maybe post Jedi World. I don't know. Brian, we lean on you as the foremost authority on Dexter Jetster. What do you think? What do you want? And what is maybe the end?
According to the canon of one of my Photoshops, there was a scene cut from the Kenobi series of Obi-Wan crying, standing in front of Dexter's diner that had been turned into a Starbucks. But I don't know. The only thing I know is I don't read comics, but I don't read the High Republic comics. But isn't he involved in a story in that era?
Yes. We've got some people in the chat saying Anakin Crespin is saying High Republic Adventures, 3 exclamation points.
I know a bunch of people had tweeted images at me saying, "Oh, he's in this comic." I guess that's my thing now. People send me. That's why I always stay up to watch the Star Wars shows, but I'm like, now I have to stay up every time one comes out, because if Dexter actually does show up, there's no way I'm going to be able to watch it before I see the 5,000 notifications on my phone of people tweeting me screenshots of it.
If Dexter does show up in a Star Wars show, are you going to Photoshop him out of it?
Yeah, I'll replace him with someone else. I will replace him with that. Well, people probably won't remember it because it's the problem with being a Photoshop person is you Photoshop these moments in time on Twitter that weren't that long ago, but in Twitter it was like 50 years ago. But there was a picture of Vince McMahon from a few weeks ago where he had the little mustache. I don't even know what was going on. I'm sure he was doing something horrible, but and I tweeted out that that's what Dexter Jetster would have looked like if Tony Gilroy directed Attack of the Clones, because everyone in an Andor was a human instead of an alien. But maybe I'll just Photoshop that picture of Vince McMahon into whatever scene he's in.
You've got plenty of photoshopping to do, but maybe someday, maybe you could go through various Andor characters and turn them into basilisks, like Dexter.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
Four-armed Nemec, I'm here for it. You can write more
Yeah.
manifestos.
I love that. Love that idea. Beautiful stuff here, Brian. Yeah, as far as I let Joseph and I answer. Sorry. I don't know. I'm intrigued by the Phase 2 stuff. Basilisks. I don't know how long they live, but I have this view that he closed down the shop. It's empty. It's a Spirit Halloween, whatever Jake you want to make. But he's kind of now like a sweeter, softer Anthony Bourdain, rest his soul, just going around, traveling, going to diners, telling stories, soaking up cultures. That he's retired, but he's out there enjoying the galaxy.
Yeah, I think here's my maybe controversial. I don't know. I think the Empire cracks down on Dexter's Diner. They know that is a place of staying up late and free thinkers having radical conversations, and I think Dexter's not having it. I think he shuts down, and I think he maybe gets involved with Saw Gerrera at one point. But I think I think he was behind a really big tree on Endor because he got a lot of arms to hide. I think he was involved in the rebellion for sure.
I love the idea that he's cooking for the partisans.
Yeah. Or he's on Yavin. He's the cook at the Yavin base and like everywhere.
Good job with the metal, little Skywalker. Yeah, so great.
I said Bourdain, but he also could go the Guy Fieri route where, like, Guy Fieri like goes to where there's like massive force fires and brings just food for all the firefighters and stuff. Like Dex does that. He's like, the rebellion's on. I'm going to the Masasi Temple and I'm cooking. We're gonna have sandwiches and Java juice for everybody.
And I think by the era of the sequels, he's a little bit older, but I think he goes full Maul. I think he's got a couple of robotic limbs, but I think he's still cooking and still fighting. And let's start the campaign for Dexter in the new Jedi Order film.
Love it.
Yeah.
Before Brian goes, I just want to throw out a thank you to people who have been supporting the Kickstarter for the short film that I'm working on. It's a horror film called The Nightmare Adorable. Ken is one of the actors. Brian is he's already done some great graphics for me, and there's some even more he's gonna do. And we just, as we're recording this morning, crossed the threshold of a stretch goal where all backers are now going to get some posters designed by Brian. A part of this show is that there's a streaming show within the movie where different fake horror films are mentioned, and Brian's going to do the posters for fake, imaginary, funny horror films. I'm so excited for that. Brian, you're not only skilled in Photoshop, but your wit and your charm comes out in the Photoshop, and I'm really looking forward to working on this fun project with you.
Well, I'm just glad I found people like you and Ken and Alex and Molly and everyone else that somehow the dumb stuff that I like to do and would be doing anyway, people can get some use out of it and maybe benefit the world instead of just me doing it because I was bored at work.
Great art comes out of great boredom, I think. So
Yeah.
I think we're on a good path.
No, your art brings a lot of joy to a lot of folks here in the Star Wars fandom, Brian. So we appreciate it and appreciate having you around. So we'll let you go. Get on with your day, Brian. We gotta, I'm gonna force you to tell people where to find your work, Midnight Mass, anything, your website, your TeePublic. Get like the Dex's Diner shirt. All those things are out there. So where can they find you?
I'd say following me on Twitter is the best place because that's where I post most stuff. That's just at Brian E. Ward. I have a website for maybe a couple more weeks. I'm not renewing it. So I guess whenever they decide to take it down, it won't exist anymore. But I have the Midnight Mass YouTube channel. Uploads are very, very slow. I do them when I have ideas and when I have time to make those ideas. The most recent one was the Lo-Fi Ray on Jakku video that I made. I have another idea for one of those that I might do soon, but those are the two main things. Mostly just follow me on Twitter because everywhere else is just a repeat of what I've posted on Twitter. So it's kind of the same thing over and over again.
That is the entry point. The world between worlds. This begins with Twitter for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Brian. We'll catch up with you. We really appreciate you coming here and showing your face here on the channel.
No problem. Anytime.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye. All right. We did it, Joseph. We had two wonderful guests. We're still going here, but we did hit 100. I saw it.
I did too. I screen capped it. Yeah.
You did? Perfect.
I did.
I saw PLD screaming about it. So you and I are going to open up action figures while we take questions here on the
That's right.
of the show.
My Kenobi is out of reach, so I need to put down my headphones for just a second.
You do that. So thank you for making our dreams come true. I almost knocked this. I almost knocked over my alcoholic beverage. That would have been great. All right, so this is the Indiana Jones Worlds of Adventure. Look at that. I can't wait. And I have the kind of similar Han on a tauntaun that is on a shelf. Maybe I'll grab that. And four ages 4+. I'm definitely in the plus. So we'll wait for Joseph to get back, and we'll open that there. Thanks again. Yeah, Romo, our former guest, unboxing. I love Dex's Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives, says Nathan Stowe. I absolutely support this idea. Oh, I just saw this one too from Jake. Ozzie Smith forever. Brian, I say there's a left-handed first baseman grew up in the 80s in San Francisco. Hot take indeed. That's Will Nuschler Clark era there, Jake. All right, Joseph is back.
All right.
So I started to show a little bit, Joseph, but this is one of those. I was out getting some food at Target, not a sponsor, but happy to support them right now, and did my sweep to the toy aisle, and was shocked. Should have been. It's Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny promotional season. Shocked at the amount of the prophecy fulfilled. Ken Bloom was silent until this moment because he heard figure packaging being rustled, and I saw a bunch of Indiana Jones stuff, and I already have it was 3 3/4 Raiders Indy was a birthday gift from a friend of mine named Jeff Saunders, and I saw this, as I said before, it matches up with my Han on a tauntaun. Which I'll get after I open this. So I was very thrilled to get some new Indy merch.
Yeah, as well you should be. I want to see Indy ride that horse. Is it labeled from a specific film, or is it just, he's always riding a horse? Don't worry about it.
It's always riding. I would say it's oh no, you know what? It does not say Last Crusade, but as you and I discussed, it has the Holy Grail, snakes, but more importantly, it's got that tie.
Yep, it's got that.
Yeah.
I'm a middle manager and an awesome archaeologist.
Yeah. And it's Indiana Jones with horse is the official title.
So it seems pretty obvious.
Yeah. I want to even got this is an actual size on the back. We'll do a comparison. And what figure do you have again? You have Kenobi?
I got Big Blue Kenobi. Now I have another Kenobi, but honestly, I can't remember where I set him down. I have it. I have a 3 3/4 Kenobi that I will open on some live broadcast, but I can't find it right now. The Black Series is a little easier to open since you can kind of put it back in and all that, but still counts.
All right, so we're gonna do it. We'll take your questions. I'll tell you what. I'll pick one so that while we're opening, we can talk about it here. That's a deep question. That's a wonderful deep question. All right. Oh, the Sabersmith asked this question. I'd love to see Tales of the Bounty Hunter with what about Embo and his trusty champion. Merrick. What do you think about that? We got Tales of the Jedi. I love them. You love them. We're looking for volume 2. Well, what about a Tales of Bounty Hunter with Embo? You just want more Embo?
I just want sweet Embo content. So if it was Tales of a Bounty Hunter, I'd be fine with that. I remember in the Aftermath series, he is working that he's got a crew that's working with the bounty hunters. So I can't remember her name. Sugi's niece. I just love the aesthetic of Embo. I do love his trusty companion. His animal there. So I would love to see Tales of the Bounty Hunters. I'm not caught up in the Bounty Hunters comic, but I think sometimes the Bounty Hunter stories can get into just be like, look at all these cool badasses. But I would love to see sort of like a range of kinds of stories about them. I like that Bosca's kind of turned into the Bounty Hunters. Like this he's not a great guy and he's never going to be a great guy.
Yeah.
But Embo always had a little bit of like, I kind of got a code. So
Yeah.
I would love to see that explored.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Yeah, I am reading the Bounty Hunters comic. I'm always about 5 issues behind, but it's not my favorite. But I think it tries to do a little bit more than just, hey, they're cool bounty hunters. But that aura kind of is always there for me. But maybe that's just a personal taste. But I like them. But yeah, I'd be there for that. If you could explore each bounty hunter, give me a Dengar series. But I definitely would love Embo.
Yeah, Embo content.
All right,
Lots of it.
All right, you got it. I didn't even ruin the box, Plume. I carefully peeled the tape back. All right. He wasn't asking, but I'm explaining it there. If you're just joining us, Joseph and I challenge everyone to help us make our dreams come true by opening these figures today. We got 100 concurrent viewers. Man, I think this box is lying to me.
About how easy it is to open?
No, about how this actual size.
Oh, is Indy smaller or much larger than you expected?
Much smaller. We'll see.
Oh, you got a wee Indiana.
You got a wee Indy. All right. Steve Breedlove says, thanks for letting me listen while I watch the dishes. No, Steve, you made your dreams come true right there.
Yeah. Let's do you want me to grab another question here while you're
Yeah, go for it. I might need scissors. No, I think we got it.
Okay. Oh, that is a big one. Looking. Oh, that's a big one. We can.
Charlie says I got the young Indy by mistake. Might seem.
Okay, so PLD asks the previous Doctor Who question from way back when. Which Star Wars character would you choose to make a companion to a future Doctor? I'm sure the TARDIS can make her way to a galaxy far, far away. I agree with that. That is so hard. It is so wide open. I do like. I love the modern series of Doctor Who, and I love that we still call it the new series or the modern series, given that it's over 15 years old,
right?
Almost 18 years old. Excuse me. But I liked it when the Doctor used to have alien companions, and since the galaxy is lousy with aliens in a good way, I want the Doctor to go around with Cabe, the Chatter fan, the little bat lady from A New Hope.
That kind of makes some sense. I'm obviously not super familiar with Doctor Who, but that kind of, as Ryan Johnson would say in behind the scenes of Last Jedi, hey, it's a little Doctor Who, but that works.
A little Doctor Who absolutely works, or Bosk, because his outfit actually does come from Doctor Who, famously.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, right. The connections run deep. All right.
I'm sliding. I should do this on screen. I'm going to slide out my Kenobi. The top is open.
Slide it out.
Oh, sliding out my. It feels like a striptease. Like, oh, can you see his face in the window? I wonder what John Williams strip music would sound like. Beautiful. Okay, I got my Kenobi out. Now for more packaging. Where are you at with your wee Indy?
Okay. All right. So here's definitely wee Indy. Focus, autofocus. There you go.
Yeah.
Wee Indy, and then we got the horsey. Let me just do this here. This is actual size. Here's the test. All right. I guess.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. Yep. Oh, you're nailing it.
Actual size. Okay. I stand corrected, toy makers.
But the Indy looks a little big. So is Indy loose yet?
Indy is loose here. Let me. Nope. All right. It's accurate. That's crazy. Don't take my word for it. It's accurate.
That's an interesting idea of perception, that it looks bigger printed than in your hands.
In your hands. Okay. And then I got a little whip. We got a good question there from Star Wars Attic. We'll get to that one. Except for it's not Turgle. Look at this little grail. Look at that.
Oh, look at that tiny grail. Why is he riding away with it on a horse? This is a non-canonical.
This is non-canonical. Yeah. All right. Indy is not really sitting, but he's on the horse.
Oh, he looks tired. I like it.
There you go.
Okay, so this is my favorite part of trying to remove an action figure these days, of popping them.
Oh yeah,
okay. This pack is out, and Get out. It's like a live birth. Come on. I do not have Ken Plume's finesse. I don't do this often, as you can see. I can see the Kenobi's head. Come on.
Plume has that he has that razor. He's prepared. We did this on the fly today.
I don't even have my pocket knife over here. All right, that was a little tease. I got more tape work to do.
You got tape work to do. I'll find us another question here. As I get Indy, I'm getting the satchel on Indy. I know we should have had cam rank. We weren't planning for this today. This is magic that happened live.
Totally
today.
On the fly.
There we go. There's Indy running away with the Grail.
Betraying the lesson of the film.
Not learning any lessons that he picked up. There we go.
He should be carrying his father. His father should come as an accessory
on there. Now the problem is I gotta find where do I put this snake? I just gotta put it on there. All right.
And it comes with a snake too, right? Okay. All right.
Snake. Which isn't, well, yeah, it's prevalent in Last Crusade, but not like the other film. So there you go.
Look at this. Look at that. Look at the
still going
sheer torture that he's going through his head. Look at that. Look what I've done to his head.
He slightly looks like Han trying to get out of Anakin gives a super chat with some advice. Take out the saber first so it doesn't break.
Yeah, I should have. I was saving it for last, but you're totally right. Okay, I think I'm close. He's free and clearly extremely well posed.
There you go. Oh, this is a perfect comment here. This came a little while ago, but Monica says, I want to share my excitement with people that will understand, and people here at ForceCenter will understand. I'm studying abroad, but next week I'm flying home for the summer where my Mon Mothma action figure have been waiting for many weeks now.
Oh,
Monica, that is how you do it. You get home, you open up that figure, you push it out of its packaging like Joseph's doing here today. And love it there.
Yeah. I am not opening this with Obi-Wan, so I don't even want to hear it, Ken Plume. I'm not opening him. I like him in the package, and he's hard to find. But I was mentioning this on our podcast episode. I coveted this guy for a long time and found him at a reasonable price on eBay, and I waited until I got some actual good news, and it makes me love him even more. So I'm so excited for you and your trip home and getting to celebrate it with a Mon Mothma.
That's beautiful there. Another comment for the super chat here. John Tetra says, the passion for Star Wars has no bounds, no limit, no end. We all share this infinite passion, and that's a special thing. Yeah, we always say ForceCenter is only as strong and vibrant as you all listening and watching. So that's great. Sean's here, late to the party. No, Sean, you're here right now. There we go. So far, great questions coming in. So there we go. Obi-Wan's out, but kind of out, right? You still getting accessories out?
Yeah, he's got his blaster and his backpack. He doesn't have a hunk of meat, which he should have come with, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But now I am working on the lightsaber, which thankfully did not break.
Yeah, I got Indian whip. I got the satchel on. I got the snake on the bridle of the horse there.
Oh yeah. It's like India's Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah. He's just getting out of there fast.
All his animal pals. I hate tape. Why'd it have to be tape?
Why'd it have to be tape? Oh, that's just my pet tape, Reggie. All right, there we go.
All right. Oh,
we're here for about 10 minutes more or so here. So if you have any thoughts, questions, super chats, anything you want to get in, we appreciate that. Johnny C Books and Comics asks you, Joseph, do you have that Anakin in the Clone Wars wave? If not, let me know.
I do not, and I would treasure him.
Yeah,
I covet him.
If you this seems like a Plume question. I'll pay $2 from our own budget here. If you had the package deal, Anakin and Obi-Wan, would you then open them and display them, or just frame the packaging on your wall?
I would frame them together. I have a Last Jedi board of all the 3 3/4, because that line was so great for me.
Yeah.
And I just pinned a bunch of them up together, and they're all in their packages together, like a beautiful work of art, which they are.
Yeah.
I love them out of the package, and I also love them in the package.
That is beautiful there. Alice Smithy asked, what kind of meat was that thing? Crab dragon? Yeah, no, it was, you might remember the name, but it was like more of like a land shark. Land shark.
It Tibidon. So like this, I believe this, Obi-Wan is labeled as Tibidon Station. And I believe that sand whale is a Tibidon. I will Google to make sure I'm not saying incorrect things on the internet.
That's always a threat and always a risk.
That haunts us everywhere. But I've just made a deal that'll keep the internet out of here forever.
While you're getting Obi-Wan camera ready there, Star Wars Addict 88 did ask this question. Who's your favorite Star Wars era Star Wars character, and why is it Turgle? So Turgle is fantastic. Joseph, you saw Turgle in the trailer for Survivor. I know you haven't played the game, but did you see that?
I did. I've seen the internet loving on Nubs and Turgle.
Yeah. Turgle is again, you want to talk about characters that in my head are running around having fun at the same time as Andor, which essentially with this video game in the timeline, it's possible. But for everything about this, it's a frog on 2 feet with long legs, but Turgle's got like a holster and pretty much nothing else. And then
really?
Yeah.
That's great.
The voice matches what you think someone named Turgle would sound like. It's a pretty special character, but he's also kind of annoying, which is part of the point of the character in a weird way.
Does he give you advice? Is he one of those characters like tells you what to do and you just like, you're like, thanks. And also I kind of want to murder you.
Nah, there's you have to, Sergeant Fubar says Turgle is a gift. He is a gift. I like Turgle, but when you meet him, he's done something wrong and you have to step in and help him. And then he's kind of got tasks. He's one of those task kind of characters or, hey, did you hear? And that's not my Turgle impression. But you want to be his friend. He's probably been picked on his whole life, even though he's probably started some of the fights, but you want to do good by Turgle.
Nice. All right.
Obi-Wan's camera ready.
Obi-Wan is camera ready to go. He's got I'm sure I can find a way to fit the lightsaber into his right hand, but he's got blaster finger. But the blaster does fit very nicely into his holster and it buttons up. And I love the cloth cape. I love this blue shirt.
It's a great character.
Just a thing of beauty. Look at him there. Look at him. He has the high ground on my microphone.
I love the blue shirt is low key one of my favorite things in the.
It is. And then when you really get to concentrate on the blue shirt and the black gloves, come on. And the cloak, come on.
Look, I understood why he moved past that outfit, but if we get a Kenobi blue phase a little bit later on in series 2, like if there is one, I'd be good with that.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that blue for a while. It worked for me.
Yeah. Well, I'll just cradle him for the rest of the live chat here.
I love that. Charlie Ashby from the Imperial Podcast says, if that Kenobi was a 2005 figure, his box would say depressed. Accurate.
And now I want to time travel. Oh boy, there are a lot of comments have come in while I was.
Yes, indeed. Love it. A few more minutes here on the show. So any big questions jump out to you here, Joseph, that you want to get to? We got some great ones. We might not get to all of them. We apologize, but don't worry. We'll be doing this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. There's I always like this one. It's a headier one. Steve Breedlove. Given that Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Yoda all had to engage in disciplined study to learn to Force Ghost, yet Anakin could Force Ghost in Return of the Jedi, do you think Kanan will show up as a Force Ghost? A lot of questions in one. We could take that any way. That's great. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you believe Freddie Prinze Jr., he won't be unless his family up there asks him for a favor again. Then maybe he will do it. And I know all the voices that appeared. You could argue there was some form of Force ghosting, but I don't think we'll see Kanan. But the Freddie Prinze factor out of it. There's something. I don't have the scientific nor technical answer for Anakin, but there's something obviously clearly special about him, chosen one or not. You know, there's a strong connection, the midichlorians. and that there could have been just an asterisk next. Oh, Anakin's redeemed. He's got the skills now, and I don't necessarily think the other Jedi need to turn into Force ghosts, if you know what I mean. So I don't think we'll see it. I don't think we'll see as many of them. I'd be curious to see if the knowledge is passed on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luke clearly picked it up. Does he pass it on? And is that what is now par for the course in the new Jedi Order? Obviously, with Qui-Gon, it was something brand new, right? Something he learned, and all the challenges, and Yoda going to Dagobah in the Clone Wars stuff, a little bit more involved, clearly. So is that something going forward that would become normal, so that more Jedi would appear as Force ghosts?
Yeah. I like in the Clone Wars story of the teaching that Qui-Gon and the Force priestesses give Yoda, that we do see Anakin sort of go through those some of those steps of he reckons with his dark side, and he sacrifices himself and has a desire to be there for the next generation. So I always like that about the story. I think I like this being a not an entirely answered question. I like the idea that maybe Obi-Wan and Yoda reached out and helped him a bit. I like the idea that he has a deep and special connection with the Force. I think Kanan did a lot of great things that are the steps to immortality. He died in a sacrifice, but I think many Jedi have. I think there's this powerful thing of a need to continue to be there for someone on the mortal plane. And I kind of have a headcanon that Kanan was confident that Ezra had this.
Yeah.
And that Hera had this, and that his whole family were going to be okay without him. So I think both from a storytelling perspective, I don't know that I need to see Kanan as a Force ghost. Yep. The actor has been saying things that he's not coming back. So, and I take Rey's adventure in Rise of Skywalker as something different than communing with one specific Force spirit.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
big heady stuff indeed.
Yeah,
First,
thank you very much.
Sean asks, are there paranormal investigators in Star Wars, and when? Yeah, I would like that. Get some Zach Baggins Ghost Adventures in there. Great stuff. And then we have this one. I want to get to this one here. Bo Beep, what do you think is the most important thing Rey needs to change about the Jedi Order when making her own to avoid the same failures? It clearly teaching everyone Force Ghosts is my answer. No. Yeah. You can go to some of the nuts and bolts stuff. I can make a joke about allow them to date. I don't know. It's not kind of that kind of thing. But to me, never lose sight of why you're doing this, and how do you teach that? And it's not that the Jedi didn't teach that, but as the Order got bigger and more entrenched in the Republic, the Republic at the time, obviously they might have lost their way. One of the big things that is going on in the prequels. So yeah, I think Rey's warmth and appreciation for life, the smile on Pisana, the hand in the rain on Ahch-To, this whole world is great. I would never imagine seeing all that kind of like the joy for all living things and the connection and the balance found and all that. If Rey can lead with that, and that is what you're defending and what you're going out doing. The Ahsoka factor as well. I think Ahsoka is a great example of that. Even when she's not a Jedi, she is a Jedi. That's where I'd have her start. The bare bones. We got these books, but really it's about what's in our heart as Jedi. And that's why we're here.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's going to find lots of information in those books. Kathleen Kennedy said she's studying those books and understanding ancient philosophies. I think she would have a different approach and understanding of attachment. I think Rise of Skywalker walks her through the danger of attachment and why the Jedi originally had those ideas of by being a Jedi, we are servants of the entire galaxy. We need to be there for the entire galaxy. We need to be careful that the people we love can't become something that leads us to rage. But I think also her journey is so much about wanting to become herself, but also wanting to find family, find connection. Also, she's part of a dyad. Her existence is connection. So I don't think she'd just be like, you know what? The attachment rules were garbage.
Yeah.
date.
Everyone date. Yeah.
Hey, if you're dating someone and they leave you, take it out on people. Like, I don't, I think she would still know that you need to train yourself to be able to let go of people, but we have to trust that people can be strong enough that they can love and also let go. I think that she might have a slightly different, like, yep, you absolutely have to be able to let go of people. But if you can do that, then yes, you should love people.
Yeah. So in other words, date, right? No, I'm kidding. Undercutting your well-made point there. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's the basic stuff, right? It's the basics. And that's kind of what I love about some of the Yoda stuff in Last Jedi, right? She has the books. She already what she needs, she already has, but it goes beyond that. Just it's in her heart. That's why I totally understand, and I hope we do get a chance to get more of Finn and his journey with the Force. But I do love what is there about it's this feeling. And it's a feeling that was always there, but you couldn't quite understand it. And that's kind of goes back to me, even Yoda and Dagobah and Empire, of like the Force is everywhere, it binds us all. And George's thoughts on, everyone can play basketball. So some just better than others, but meaning to me, like it is in your heart. It is in the galaxy. And you can maybe hear its call if you're listening. And that's part of Finn's journey. Do I want more of it? Do I want to see him with a lightsaber? Do I want to see him in this film? Yeah, absolutely. But I really love what we got with that too, because it's about the basics for me.
Yeah, really agree. I want to highlight this comment from Oscar Film Forecast. Says, just hopping back on as Obi-Wan been on Joseph's shoulder the entire 2 hours since I left. No, but boy, do I wish that were true. Maybe our next stream, I'll just hold 2 action figures, two little mans right here the entire time.
Love that indeed. All right. I think that's about it, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you everyone for the questions. Sorry that we could not get to all of them, but we were balancing having some new friends on. Well, new to being on the stream and having some friends to open. That sounded weird.
Some
action figures.
Little men. This is going to go on my shelf next to my Han on a Tauntaun. This one, though, I'll tell you what, I'm having the horse legs do move a little bit. And he has fallen a few times already here on this table, so I have to get those legs right. You can hear him falling in the background there. So we appreciate it. You're all the best. You know where to find us if you listen to us, but if you don't, the links are down below here on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter to get all the updated information. Our Patreon page, patreon.com/ForceCenter, a good place to support us directly. And yeah, like we said, it is Patreon exclusive right now. It is Indiana Jones and the Perilous podcast. We're having a ton of fun. Up next to be released, I think, Joseph, is Last Crusade, right?
Yep, this Monday, got it all scheduled. Our discussion of the Last Crusade, which was so much fun to have that discussion. That is going to be live on our Patreon on Monday.
Which means very soon, I'm looking forward to having a discussion about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I'm looking forward to that.
All right. There it is, my friends. There it is. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter Live.
Thanks for watching ForceCenter. To follow us on Twitter, reach out at ForceCenter Pod. We're on Hive Social at ForceCenter. On Instagram, we are at ForceCenter Pod. Our Facebook page is ForceCenter Podcast. The podcast is available in a lot of different spots like Acast, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Just search, you'll find us. Want ForceCenter merch? Go to tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. Want to support us directly? You can at patreon.com/ForceCenter. For social links for the hosts and guests of ForceCenter, check the links in the description below. That's it for now. We'll see you next time here on ForceCenter.